right. um, Greetings to everyone. It's evening wherever you are. I think that's good evening, good afternoon, good morning. As I see some people from Australia, so I think Australia is the morning. In the US in the afternoon, and Africa it's evening. So how are you all doing? Yeah, you guys are surprised. I'm the one coming up today instead of Abby. Abby is having a bit of a technical problem. She'll soon join us very soon. Not, I think she'll soon resolve their technicians that are listening to something. Other than that, how has your day been? How has your week been? Your day and everything? Abby, stop telling me. Abby, stop telling me hello from outside. Get into the studio, please. Abby is always fond of that. She comments from outside. Well, my day was quite fun today. Woke up early in the morning, cycle. I'm my wife's new cycling instructor. So early in the morning, before anybody goes anywhere, hey, wake up. Abby, sorry. Abby, don't start. Don't start at all. Just don't start. We're waiting for you. So, I'm putting you on blast. People are saying that you're trying to sleep. You better come on now. So, yeah, I'm my wife's new cycling instructor. So, taking her out for like 4 to 5 classes, and she's already riding well. She's getting. Please, not today, Abby. Not today, please. Not today, Abby. Please. Oh, yeah, come, I'll pamper you. Come on the show, I'll pamper you.
Who is pampering?
Wait, I'm giving you God's salute now. You say I didn't give you now. And the applause.
That horn. I want horn too. Horn.
No, horn is for Ron. Horn
is not for me. Hey, I got tired. Don't you don't go to forget.
People get confused. They won't understand what's going on.
Let them be confused. It is me. It is Abby. Abby of the Mongalo Croonies. I should start collecting star power. Can you see what people are collecting at AMVCA? See the kind of dresses that they are wearing. The kind of social media clouds that they are collecting left and right. I mean, I want to go so that designer would design a dress of $100 million. I put it on my body. Is my body rejecting that kind of thing? It's not now.
Are you not noticing what your sister is doing? Happy. She said we should pamper her to come on the show now.
Mr. Fanny Papri, if you know what I've gone through since morning, I believe that I've been fighting my internet. Do you know that they just fixed it just now?
Yes, sir.
Because I have been screaming on the phone. Do you know what I use my internet for? Blah, 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 blah. I started speaking Oyibo. Yeah. I was like, excuse me, don't seem to understand. I need this. I need it so bad. Even me, my tongue was like, madam, where did you learn all this English?
But if you don't act like that, they are not going to take you seriously. Sometimes you have to go.
I was like, with all due respect, I don't need your apology. I need this fixed right now. I'm trying to be so polite because I know it's not your fault. And I'm not trying to say that I'm trying to hold you responsible. But the thing is, right now, I'm in a conundrum. I have been without internet all day. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? In this day of social media where that's most of my work, I have been without internet all day. Even when I speak the English, I go stop up, I go buffer myself. I was like, Abby, you have not forgotten your phone there.
Where they came now? That's why they actually came.
The guy was just like,
When
because it
they
was the
came
guy
out,
who eventually took over, because it was the lady I was speaking with first. She was like, then I was like, can you just transfer me to the person who can do this for me, please? I'm not saying you don't know your job, but it seems like you keep going to go and check with people. So instead of going to check with people, can you just transfer me, please? They can't put me on hold, though. I did on top hold,
uh,
no problem. Then I passed me on to a guy. The guy was not like, don't worry, madam, I'll sort it. I was like, no, please don't call me madam. I'm a miss. I was like, oh, okay, just call me Abby. I was like, okay, Abby, no problems. We'll get it sorted out for you. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, the time's ticking. The time's ticking. I should be on air right now. I was like, oh, I'd love to see your show. So I advertised the show. So hopefully they'll look at
I just hope so.
I hope, because
'Cause
I was shouting, it's Mongol croonings with Abby and friends. Do you understand? Do you? Ah! This is why I'm studying drama. I'm a dramatist. Okay, oh my people. Now welcome, Nado.
I was telling them a story before you came online.
Oh, okay, let us hear your story, then I'll greet everyone. Yeah, go on.
I was telling them how I've become a cycling instructor now. I took my wife
Hey,
on only
I'm sorry.
two
It's
classes.
giving me another.
Oh, an error?
That is what it's telling me.
No.
Sorry about your story. It's saying, okay, it's saying it cannot stream on my IG. I'll just ignore it. It's
Oh,
streaming
it's
everywhere.
me. No, no. Yeah, I
Ah,
was trying to stream
because
on
I
the
was like,
IG.
shoot. Yeah,
No,
continue.
okay. So
Continue your story.
I was just trying to. So I took on three classes, and already she's even learning. She's speeding up and all that.
Oh,
Now,
riding bicycles, your daughter.
yeah, no, my wife.
Did
Prior
I
to
ever tell
that,
you the story of when I went to buy bicycle with my own hand? I went to buy bicycle.
uh, still
I
having
became
class.
late night entertainment for my neighbors. Hey,
I don't know
Abby.
why, Abby, why you think, I don't know why you think we don't need pampering. We all need private
All of us
masseuse.
need pampering. Serious one. I need
All of
someone
us.
to massage my back.
Good evening, everyone. Mine is different because I asked for it. Do you get?
Mm,
I asked for it. So when
mm.
somebody asks for
Sometimes we
something,
don't ask for our own.
hold on a sec. When somebody asks for something, you don't say, me too, I need it like a child. I said, I need
Uh.
pampering. So,
Sorry upon sorry. We will talk that we need it too. Please. If you like,
Mm.
call us
so
children, call
I
us whatever you want to call us.
was the one that asked for pampering. And all
Is
I
the
needed was just that motivation. But well, the motivation
hello,
that you
hello.
like to
Oh,
talk.
did you mean you wanted us to beg you? Because
Not
my
beg,
pampering is different.
not beg, not beg, not
Cajole,
it's
cajole you
motivating.
Uh,
Motivate.
and
Motivate.
motivate. No, me, I'm saying a mini the pamper. I need pamper. I need somebody to massage my back,
No, that's
rub
different.
my
Down to another
spine,
level. Not then
put
the
ice cream down my throat. You know, make
you
it.
won't turn to something else. Sorry, I forgot my Bluetooth. One moment.
It's not going to turn to
oh.
anything else. If that is the case, then I should be sleeping with every massage place I go to. I'll be now. I didn't know that bicycles are according to like you buy bicycles according to your height. So I bought the
Yeah.
bicycle from a third person. In fact, from a third person. Nini, if you are listening to this show, I'm going to collect that money from your hand one day, one day. So Nini is tall. He's almost 6 foot. He now sold the bicycle to me. Me too, I bought it. I now climb bicycle. I'll climb it. Bush bagger. Bush bagger. my neighbors were just laughing at me. Now,
I
vex, I
think
think that I dashed it out too.
they before you pick up the bicycle, you need to check out your height. Like
I
every
didn't know.
see
Me, I just saw bicycle and I was like, oh, I want bicycle. He sold it to me. It was
I
someone who
think
was
it's
not telling me that you need
every
it according to your height.
I think it's every 4 inches or so. I'm not sure,
Ah,
but I know I use a large and XL. But my wife uses
Ah,
like
the thing
medium.
demoralized me, but maybe in another life I'll buy bicycle. But I'll make sure it's the one that is according to my height, sha.
So you need like a small.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm telling you, the thing is, the bicycles are almost as tall as me. So that should have
Oh,
been my
okay.
first indication that maybe this bicycle is not for you.
No, but the guy is not a nice guy. The guy is not a nice guy.
So Anini is my friend, Jare. He was just trying to get rid of the bicycle, and me, I was adamant I wanted the bicycle. And instead of him to tell me that, lady, you're too short to ride this thing, he just sold it to me. Hey,
So
he's
how
not
was
in
your whole
Canada.
day
I hope
and
he's
the
watching it.
weekend?
Abby, baby.
Oh yeah. I'm just
The
trying
one
to.
that I think everybody should be doing,
So
in
how
fact,
was
there's a
your
campaign that's going around England right now, is black people swimming. There aren't a lot of black people swimming. Now, it doesn't mean that black people can't swim. They might just not like the whole idea of swimming, but the whole campaign is
have you met
about
the job
getting
people
more
before?
people into water.
Have you seen the job people? Have you met the job people get
Oh,
in?
yeah. Even Badagry people, they swim like crazy.
It's
Like you
only
just see
job people
small people just dive inside water and bring out crab for you to roast. So,
no, it's job people they'll just go in 5 minutes later, you think they are dead or something. You just see them somewhere else coming out, relaxing. How do you guys do
yeah.
this?
That's why
And
I
they're
was.
very good
That's why.
swimmer, not just holding their breath. It's like when you give birth to a child. I heard a story that when you give birth to an adult child, you have to hold the child outside and dunk the child inside like is it a drum of water or inside the river?
Hey.
So the child floats up, and that's their child. Like that's an Ijo product.
Oh,
So
I'm a
they
mother.
are
They knock my child. I will faint.
oh, they've done it to you, obviously. So I think it's part of the culture.
I'm not a jaw, so they haven't done that to
So,
me. Praise the
no,
Lord.
I mean, when you're a mom, you're an Ijaw mom, you understand that they've done it to you
Okay,
before. So
okay.
it's part of the culture. Yeah.
No, is that one of
So,
have you seen Yoruba grandmothers bathe a brand new baby? You will almost faint. In fact, you won't be able to stay because it's almost like wickedness. They will
Not
twist the
necessarily.
baby. They don't. It looks like it. You know that it's for the baby's good, but the way they do it,
Yeah.
it looks like wickedness of the highest order.
Because
They will twist the
all my
baby,
kids were done
press
like
this,
that.
press that, shake that, twist this, like that. Like what?
All my kids were done like that. All of them.
Ah! Oh my God, I don't think I could be around it. When they did it for my brother, when my brother was born, come and see me. You would think I was the one that gave birth to me. I was crying. I was like,
Why?
hey, God. Mm-mm. No, it was my baby sister. No, it wasn't my baby brother. It was my baby sister that they did in front of me. I
By the way,
cried. Oh,
without forgetting about Ron's song and singing or whatever, that
oh
was
my
really
what?
nice.
days. That was
That's
so
oh,
nice.
that's brilliant.
That was really nice.
Ah,
And because you are so used to somebody not praising you, and I'm not gonna say so used, like somebody like me not praising you, so I'll say it very loosely. So obviously your wife will probably be praising you. And once in a while, I'll be praising you as well. But I mean, like somebody
me.
like me, and you're thinking in your mind like, what's that be? What does that be mean? You know what I was waiting for? I was waiting for you. I was waiting for you to sound really cheesy, but it was really nice.
No, I
Honestly,
wasn't. I had no expectations because I thought he was going to blow his trumpet, and I've heard him blow his trumpet before, so I
hmm
know he's good. So that was what I was expecting. I just heard,
it was the music. Yeah, it
You
was really
guys,
nice. It was a,
you guys didn't smell the nervousness. You didn't notice the mistakes.
no.
no,
See, it's not. So
I just saw your
when
Dorian
you know
fan.
you have already, you know you are good with all this pep talk. You've already told us. Don't expect that. I
Respect yourself.
wasn't. Yeah, exactly. So I wasn't
Disclaimer.
expecting.
Disclaimer.
I wasn't expecting something good or bad. I don't know what to expect, like she said. But in my mind, I was just thinking this is gonna be cheesy with all these pep talk that you're putting. Just sing it and let's hear. With the instruments, I wasn't surprised with that one. I was like, okay, obviously, just by closing eyes, I can say that. Oh, you can do that one. but with the song, with the music and all of that, because a lot of people can sing, but they don't know how to sing in tune. And so it was really nice. I'm so proud of you. I was like,
It was so nice.
yay!
I didn't plan on watching it. I was just like, oh, he was going to blow his trumpet. So I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, okay, let me
That's
hear what
good
he
to
wants to do.
see.
Next thing I just heard singing, I was like,
What happened?
eh? And I waited
I,
because I was on my phone. I was not like, ah, ah.
That's really nice.
Hey!
That
So
is
somebody
really
has
nice.
hidden
actually,
talent and did not tell us.
let me give you the background story. So it's funny.
Okay, tell us.
Actually, we went to, there's this center. It's a funny center. During the daytime, it's a hair salon and a restaurant. Then at night, it becomes like not really a bar per se. They do other things. It's still a restaurant, and they have, in fact, they do TV shows there. They
On internet.
do music recording there. They do a lot of stuff there. So on this particular day, we had karaoke night. So I just went there, to have fun. And the guy was like, that somebody told him that I can play trumpet. I said, yeah, that was a long time ago. He said, no, 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 no. I must play at the venue that they have an open mic. Hey!
We don't go hear what tonight, yo. Somebody's fan stage. Make sure we know hear what. Dr. K.
I mean, you see how they make yanga,
Yeah.
and they make tolo tolo yanga.
In fact, somebody is ecstatic and delighted that you have joined us tonight.
Glory be to God, the Wonder Queen.
So, a lot of things, sir, a lot of things have been going on since you left. Like, I don't know where to start from. This Abby of the character.
She's very wonderful.
In fact,
we started with one. We are now getting to two daffo. She's wonderful.
Dr. K, do you know that this guy had the nerve to say, "Oh, Dr. K didn't mean anything he said about you that that's great. He was just trying to make you feel good about yourself." I was like, me feel good about myself. I was like, you don't seem to know the relationship between me and Dr. K. Dr. K knows than to try and placate me. He knows that I know go work Sam. So he tells the truth.
You see how putting him on the spot.
As it is.
Putting him on the spot. You see this child.
No respect for him. Like it is in America now. He's old enough not to be afraid of me and tell the truth.
While you were speaking, my speaker just went off. All I heard was tell him. So I was wondering, what am I going to tell him? This technology is not good. As soon as you start to
Dr. Kale, you see, you made people say your name wrong. Your speaker is going off. That's true.
What did she say?
You see, you want to use around those time for? It's not going to work, oh. You don't have the power. You don't have the power. Don't do
this. Somebody would look. Let me go and join in YouTube. Maybe I will hear you better because it's like
so that you will not look at me eyeball to eyeball.
Born.
F4, you know.
Born.
F4.
I had born. I had born.
Not true. Anyways, before we go on, hello people. It's been absolutely lovely to see you, and of course, immediately, get a full crowd in already. We're expecting more people to join the panel, and today we'll be talking about loving but not in love. And what do we mean by that? Because a few people are like, I don't understand what this means. And basically, what we are saying is, some people, and it doesn't matter whether it's boyfriends, partners, husband and wife, they've been together for a long time, and then you find out that you're being dissatisfied. And when you're having those conversations with your friends, with colleagues that you're close to, or family, you will hear that statement come out not more than, I mean, too many times in these conversations. This
There
statement
is an
comes out.
echo somewhere.
Is
Okay,
wrong, it's
sorry,
not me.
sorry, Dr. Colin. No, it's not me. It's Dr. Colin. It happened the last time. One of your devices, you have to reduce the volume of, I think, either your laptop or something.
Yeah, you have two devices playing, so one is echoing the
Hello.
other.
No, I think what is happening is that
Aside
you are in the show, and then I can see myself, and then I can see myself 2 times.
Okay, so you need to mute one. You need to mute one.
Oh, okay. So how do I
Okay.
edit
yes,
name? Edit.
just mute
Yeah.
one.
Oh,
Come on.
you removed yourself. Mute the other.
No, it's still
Eh,
within the series.
Ron, send him a message and
So,
help him out,
what was
please.
next? Okay, I will.
He's
I'm coming.
nobody can to what they're talking
Uh,
about. So basically, this statement comes up more than
okay, it's back. Bring him back.
you know usual. I love her, but I'm no longer in love with her. And for a long time, years ago, I used to wonder what's the difference. If you love someone, then isn't that what it is? Which one is I love her with her? It took a moment for me to understand it that there is a difference between loving someone and being in love with someone. I didn't know there was a big difference. And when a partner or a boyfriend or a wife or husband is no longer in love with their other person, their significant person, it really is a painful and dangerous, no longer satisfied with that. The things that made you fall in love with them somehow may have disappeared, or you no longer see them. Oh, I love this person, I want to be with this person, blah 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 blah. You know, that goes away. The in love aspect is something that is shared solely between partners, or husband and wife, or boyfriend and girlfriend. It's not something you share with your parents. It's not something you share with your kids. It's not something you share with your friends. It's only that is a weird phenomenon. Is a weird situation where it's only between.
Oh, happy. Your line is off.
Isn't it? You
Ooh.
fall into love. So that's what we want to talk about. That how do people fall out of love? So they were in love, they fell in love, and now they're falling out of love. So how do people get there? Why do people fall out of love? And is there any hope?
Ooh. The network today is not really great.
Or are there things that can be date of love? So that's what we want to talk about. So I want to annoy Ron by singing
You want to sing, Abby?
the song because well he did me a whole trumpet thingy and I'm doing here one of the
You want to sing?
Oh, the line is really
passed
bad.
away on Wednesday.
Yeah,
My line.
yeah. You're cutting up. But I heard the last thing, something that you want to sing. Is it true?
I'm not
Oh, okay.
singing. I didn't
I
say I want
thought
to
you.
sing. I don't know what's going on. I've tried everything with this internet. I've been on it all day. But I'm saying that
Say
I
something.
want to say something else because I want to dedicate this particular show to him. Last Wednesday, someone who I consider my father, because he has been a father to me since my biological father passed. He
Mm.
unfortunately passed on Wednesday. In fact, he passed. I got the news the morning of showcase. I just had to get on with the show and then come home and cry later. He was amazing. He was very kind. He was very thoughtful. He was truly a father indeed. He loved me the way my father would have loved me. And so I want to dedicate this show to Mr. Kole Orebanwo. May his gentle soul rest in peace. So
Amen.
let's move on. Doctor, okay, before we come to you, because you know that you have you have ways that you're going to cut out the story. Abby, what's
Yeah.
your understanding, experience of in love and not being in love? Loving
I,
someone, but not being in love.
hmm. I think it's all about the continuous aspect of it. So you can love someone at the initial stage and you love everything about them, but because you have both grown and you can fall out of love, and somehow you can't see what has brought you guys together again. So I think there's an assumption that when two people marry each other, they are done. That's all they need to do. So before a boyfriend and a girlfriend comes together, everybody's making effort. This one is making effort, the other one is making effort. As soon as they come together, for instance, maybe even if it's an affair or something, as soon as they come together, then there is a relapse. You see the other person moving back, you see that one like struggling, so it's like the catch up and all of that. Those are possibility of someone falling out and all of that. So you can like someone, you can love someone, and then look at that person like, no, this person is making minimal efforts, and then you can stop falling in love with that person. You can stop, seeing reason why you should still be with that person. So for me, I've had that countless time, and I have to say that I do that a lot of times to say, you can be good for me, you can be a good person, but you might not be good for me. So you can be
Mm.
a good person, you'll be very loving, very caring, you have everything, including to be and everything, but still might not really be the best person for me. So because it's not just about one thing. So it's like that continuous effort of working towards that relationship or whatever it is, even as a friend, girlfriend, everybody, you need to make that commitment, make that effort to see that, okay, I'm pushing, you are pushing. That's when that relationship can be for a very long time. So you can meet a friend and the friend is very loving. You can like, I like this girl. Da, 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 she's my girl. Oh, da, da, da. But at the end of the day, the continuation of that thing, are they ready to put that effort in it for that to sustain? So someone can be loving and you might not naturally just be in love with them because they're just doing the bare minimum. And it could be you that you are doing the bare minimum as well. So it's vice versa. You just don't see the need to put effort. That's
That's
my take.
interesting. Because as you're talking, I'm trying to think and go, have I ever been in that situation where I love someone, but I'm not in love with them? And I can only think of two instances. I'll
Hmm.
go for the nearest one. I have a friend who is like, he's amazing. Takes,
Hmm.
well, when he was around, took care of me, like put me first, always wanted to see me smile or laugh, everything. And I really liked this person. I could say, yes, I loved them, but I was
Hmm.
not in love with them. I did not have any romantical kind of, excuse me, amorous um, intention towards them. I just saw them as my friend, but they were now interested in moving it a bit forward and turning
Hmm.
into a romantic relationship. And I was like, no, I love you, but not like that. I
Exactly.
have no interest that way. And someone spoke to me and said, why? This guy is a great guy. Why don't you like this person? Why are you saying? And I couldn't really give a reason why I was not I didn't feel any romantic way. And I had to sit down and be like, this guy is great. What's your problem, woman? Then you will not be shouting to God, God, I'm looking for a man. Now man has come. You're not saying, I'm not in love with him. So I now had to sit down and I then figured it out. So I think for me, in my understanding, there has to be something that is the barrier
There
that
is.
stops you from getting into it, because the person displayed an an attitude that has scared me all my life. Like, is the thing that makes me go, nope, I'm out. So in fact, I was surprised that how did I remain friends with this person when they displayed behavior? Because I know me, I would have been out the door faster, like you say, Jack Robinson. So I couldn't even, maybe I sort of blocked it, or I was just like, and just, because sometimes I have that thing of I'll be scared and I'll just try and block it away from my mind. Hey, Candy, how are you, darling?
Abby,
Congratulations,
I'm good,
Mr.
thank you.
Abby,
How are you
Man.
guys?
Abby,
Hi.
Hi.
Abby,
Sir?
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Can we look, because what you're saying, I think it's culture specific and it's language driven. What you have
Okay.
just put in simple terms, loving but not being in love.
Okay.
The Western idea of love, for those who don't speak Yoruba word for love is a noun. It's not a verb. It's
Not
not,
a verb.
you can't say I love you in Yoruba. So in English, they have created these various ideas because for
Money fair.
them,
Money,
yes,
money fair, not love.
that's what I'm coming to.
No,
Just
but
if you give me 1 minute,
it is a noun. Monifa, I have.
yes, it's a noun.
Yeah.
It's not a
Yes.
verb.
Yeah.
But
It's not a
in
verb.
English, the Western and Cartesian mode where you divide something, there's an up and there's a down. But the reference point is never mentioned. So for them, they are the ones who have to be in or have to be out. In between in love and not in love is what is called indifference. And there is a saying that says, if you do not love me, you do not hate me, please don't be indifferent to me.
Yeah, I've heard that statement. Indifference is worse than hate.
Exactly. Because you don't even know where. So in there, you would see that they already have the three categories and the panels to be in, to hate, and to be indifferent. Now, when you look at the Yoruba language, for instance, the word love is a noun. For you to be in some kind of relationship with somebody, you have to have mastered what that noun is. So you say, I have your love. That's the way we say it.
Yeah,
Before I go
money
to the
fair.
Yoruba people, let me take you to the Greeks. The Greeks have different levels and layers of love, like There's
Yeah.
agape, there's eros,
Heroes.
there is
Yeah.
zoe, and so on and so forth. But it is the poverty of the English language that brings a topic like this out to say,
Interesting.
I love you, but I'm not in love with you,
Love with you.
or that, because it is also in English. I don't know whether there is any other language that actually has a binary for the identification of human beings. No, human, which is biology, being, which is a spiritual, which is something you cannot attain in English. Just a minute. You can't attain the idea of beingness. It is something that you keep looking for. Now, when people meet, they meet at time A and at a particular place. That meeting, both of them are something. It is that something that they come to. And what Abby, I think I hear you say, is like poles attract, then attack. Like poles or unlike poles attract, and then they attack.
Yeah, it has to be unlike poles.
Please, 1 second, sir, before you go further, please. Sir. Your face is like just a jump. The thing is trying to force out tears from my eyes. You know why, sir?
You have a comment there, Dr. Kole. See lecture. I don't collect paper, they just.
See my daughter now. See Jota now. And you think I came here to play? You see, I'm not going to say anything, sir, because of your presence. And this explains why I've been longing and yearning for your participation on this platform. You know why? You see, this thing you just explained in just a few sentences. I've been trying for over 1 year to let Abby get it.
No, because you talk as if you are talking through your anus. That is why I refuse to hear you. So, Dr. Collins, you know,
I've been trying hard for over almost 1 year.
Dr. Collins, there's this thing in the English language. Love and hatred, they take action, but indifference, you don't need any action for it. And that's why people say, love me or hate me, but don't be indifferent, because it takes strength to love. It takes strength to hate. But when you're indifferent, that's it. That's the end of it.
Well, I get you, but if I can, I would. That person who says it, like, I'm so sorry. Sometimes I get into this mood because there are things that I have thought about for so long. All of a sudden, there is a little avenue to just
don't apologize, please.
No, so I'm looking at it from the linguistic part, and you know that the culture and the language follow each other. And I have always appreciated the richness of Greek in the way they establish love and affection. And for the Yoruba person, the word for a lover is actually a master of love. Olufe, Oluwaife, somebody who has mastered.
Yes, the one who has mastered love.
Now, is there a universal love in Yoruba? Do we say Monife Ajami? I hardly hear Yoruba people say that I have the love of my dog.
Yoruba.
I don't know whether I've ever heard anybody say I have the love of my dog, or I am a lover of dogs. I don't know whether that comes within our language, but the specific, the personhood is that the person that you have her love is that you have taken time. The idea is that you have taken time to study the person and know exactly that your love is in my heart. This is the ideal. Now let us go to the practicality of it. Between man and woman in Yoruba, the women know that they are the necks that turn the heads. Men are the heads of their society, but the women are the necks, and they turn the head anywhere they want to go. Okay. I have always said that you cannot have when a masquerade is mad, by the time you get home, there is going to be yakudirats there. All of your madness will dissolve. And then you will be, and the women know that. The women of the grassroots of the rural areas know exactly what love is. But they think that the Western humans, when they talk love, they're talking eros. They're talking that kissing and holding and stuff. But my sister, love is a responsibility.
Mm.
It's a responsibility. When you have, somebody says, without finance, there should not be
There's no
romance.
romance.
No, these are strict lingo. And all of this means that love can be time bound. It can be time bound. You can outgrow your love for somebody.
Oh, so outgrown the love I have for someone is different from I've fallen out of love with them.
No, you've just outgrown it. The person has moved on, has developed, has matured in a way that what you have, your emotional capital, cannot cope with the person before you anymore.
Your elastic limit has been reached.
That's it. It's not something that people should quibble about. I heard Habi say something like, it happened to me a number of times. It's not that you're not being wicked. It's just that usual thing. There is something in chemistry we call fission, where things just they break out. There is fusion when they come together. And you know that when elements come together, there is a great energy. The same thing when the chemicals, when they break away, there's a lot of energy too. And that is exactly what happens. You outgrow the person. Now, having, like my senior colleagues will say, colleague, your observation is on the point. What is the recommendation or the solution for it? When you live with somebody or you are relating with somebody, there is a way in which both of you can go at pace and not outgrow each other.
Okay.
And that is where partnership comes. That word and the spelling, be very careful. There is partner, a ship that is moving. Both of you can be a partner in a ship, and that's partnership. Then there is partner, SHEEP, partnership, where you just go golu golu, hoping that, well, I like this person, and you have cooked your brain. Your rational being is no more functioning. What is now functioning is that your affective, just that mushy mushy. Oh, when I see this person, my legs weak, something is going to be wrong very soon. When you cannot live on that matrix of the affective and the cognitive, that you can reason things out because you are in love. When one is ahead, you're just constantly, yes, one constantly is in motion. That guy or that girl is going to leave you behind. But both of you can be together. And how does it work? Be together because what they say is shared interest. You both have something that is driving you. There are two sides of humanity. Those who want to improve the world and those who want to enjoy the world. My friend says they are not mutually exclusive. When you find something with the person that you are in love with, and find something that will drive your improvement either of yourself or society or your family, and then enjoyment will follow. The moment where enjoyment overrides improvement, one of you will leave the other behind. And one will cry.
That is profound.
Very profound, actually. So now, if I'm to take what you just said, Dr. Colley, so this is what happens in relationships where, for example, and I'm not bashing any gender, I'm just giving out examples. For example, a guy meets a woman, she has a job, she has what she's doing, and he fancies her. He's like, oh, I'm in love with this woman. Ah, she's beautiful, she's this, she's that. And somehow convinces her to marry him. And then says, when you become my wife, you're no longer working. So now she becomes what she wasn't before. And maybe at the beginning she's like, oh, okay, I love him too and everything. First child comes, second child comes, and then she has nothing to do. And then that resentment starts to creep in because now she has no purpose beyond what, oh, she's a mom. And it's hard work being a mom, but that's not what she wanted to be. Or a guy who likes to go out and the woman meets him, and maybe just that one occasion she just happened to go out that day, and she met him, and he's like, and she's in love with him and everything, and he goes out with his guys. He's like, hey, you're going out with your friends again, don't you want to be with him? So because he wants to satisfy her, he starts staying home more instead of going out with his friends. So now she's now holding him bound against what he wants to do. I can't see. Let me see what it is. Being human.
I have been reading this book and it has influenced my head.
So,
that woman, that woman lied.
I can get in a library and I can read it.
Abby, it's £5.50. That woman lied. The woman that became a mother lied. Because in this book, right, they say motherhood is a career. In this being human, motherhood is a career, and women choose who they want as the father of their children. That is primary. Right? Now, once that is achieved, just like any career, you just left university, you want to start, you want to acquire experience. When you are, the rule of career is, when I'm green, I go. You leave your first company when you are hottest, when you have acquired experience and they have given you enough feedback that is when to leave. The woman who did that lied. She just wanted to be a mother and use that as an excuse to say, I love you. The idiot man who likes going out and wants to, is also looking, look, the human being, this whole idea of men have biological clock too, but women don't know because it's not established. It's not written. Men have biological clocks too. They also know that after a while, you can be the one who gave birth, but not the father. So men know. There are times when they just, they do things just to get what they want, and thereafter they go their way. I have been reading and there is a book I have here, which I said I make photocopies and I send it to people. The American, it's a book of prediction. It's a book of prediction. Forecast. Because it was based on statistical, empirical data that in America, most women will have 3 husbands. Whoa. And I'm sure you know that a man and a woman in America
I haven't gotten one yet.
will have children, and none of it will belong to, both of them did not have it together. So there are 3 levels and 3 stages. This book, I will find it one day, and it says that 3. The first one is to have children, and sometimes the women don't care. In Folkestone, in Folkestone, Kent, I met this 87-year-old woman. She has all her children for one man. She's a vegetarian. The day she was going to meet the man that she has all her 3 children for, the man is a butcher. a vegetarian meets a butcher. They had 3 children, right? Every time she spoke to me, she said, that idiot, the butcher is dead though. And then when she became 45, she met this guy who had gone into the military and came back and was a total gentleman, very disciplined, and she fell in love. But the man already has our own children. And that man, when he was going to die at age 70-something, left word that I don't want any of those 2 children of mine, the ones he gave birth to, that he doesn't want them at the burial. She fell so much in love with this woman, she almost took her children. But his own children, he said they should not be allowed to come to that place. Now, what am I saying? The woman at 18 who fell in love with a butcher. This woman doesn't eat meat at all. So what was happening there? Yet they lived and had 3 children. But after that, she finally found another man. So what the statistics is saying is that most women will go through 3 men. Now, it does not have to be that you will change husbands. What it says is that the one you have that you are locked with, you probably might not be able to leave it, but you want that man. The final one is companionship. The third one, I can remember that one very well. Somebody to just go out with, the one stuff and all of that. And this person will not be thinking, like Abby will say, we want to buy Pampers for the child and be looking at the price. No, we want to buy Pampers, get away. What are you looking at the price for? We need Pampers. Let us buy it. You don't want a guy who will be looking at the price of essential things to buy. Oh. That is companionship. That is the level in which both of you have paid your mortgage and you like each other. Finally, real life experience. This woman was married to a guy who has PhD in physics, right? She was tired of a relationship, but she knew that if she got out of it, her children would not have health insurance. When she sees the man like this, she will feel like puking. The man that she had her children from. So I think it's more of emotional growth. People are growing, they're maturing, and they're leaving behind. But like I said, there is a recommendation.
So what's the recommendation?
The first one is that both of you must find something of interest.
Back together again.
You know what my father would say, the perfect relationship is the cripple that married the blind. You know, the cripple can see, the blind cannot. The blind can walk, the cripple cannot. So they will, to get anywhere, they will always have to back each other.
So a symbiotic relationship.
Exactly. To get anywhere, both of them will have to need each other. And at the point in which you're finding your life going this way, that you can do things without needing the other, you have to reinvent it. You have to go back, reinvent how you will. Now, final. This one, somebody told me, I have not tested it. But this person said to me, when husband and wife do something that is illegitimate, they do something that they both have each other's secret, and that if one goes away, we'll be fearing that Ashiyatu, that the secret will come out.
Right.
They stay. Because they do things, especially husband and wife that smoke igbo.
That smoke
that do wee. Not those ones that do alcohol. Nah, it is specifically that smoke
I was
weed.
thinking on a different plane. I was like, wow, so I have to find a husband who's willing to kill somebody with me.
No, it's smoking. No, as simple as smoking weed. That both of them so enjoy it. But you know what? It's a ridiculous example, but it just shows you that I don't know how to try. That when you come
It
back,
makes sense because if you have done something with someone that implicates both of you,
exactly.
one cannot be free of the blame.
Yes.
Then it's difficult to be like, I'm never speaking to you again because you always want to keep that person near in case Kasala wants to boss. So I get what you're saying. So Candy, listen to everything that Dr. K has just said. And there's some things in there that I'm not gonna got slightly confused, but there's many things that are very profound that I've heard. Now, looking at the language structure and also looking at the way that, because I think for us, our generation, and Dr. Kole, I still want to ask, in our grandmother's age, did they kiss at all? Did they do all this kissing stuff? Or is this purely our own gig?
Those people, look, there is a professor at University of Georgia, Athens. Sorry, Okandi, you will come back quickly. But this one is so interesting because there are two answers I will give you. There is a professor at University of Georgia, Athens. He's been collecting proverbs and things that have to do with intimacy.
Okay.
And the positions that they took, I don't think that anyone of Kama Sutra is coming behind it.
Okay,
because he's been able to collect. Yes, they do a lot of that. And then the second one there was a queen of England. She used to circulate great papers of great details. She wrote it herself during the Victorian era, how women should deal with their men. And that paper, I think almost for 100 years, they call it the hidden papers. The sexual description, the drawings and all, it never showed up one day in the public. It was many years after that people found it. Our grandparents, our great-grandparents, they were very secretive.
The secret
all the
papers.
things they did in the they did it in the chambers. And you know, Abby, you just hit on something. I have been working on continuity and discontinuity. You know, there are things that our parents don't hand over to us. Because once they do, then we'll be doing it the way they did it. So what they usually do is that they let you create your own. Just like you know that in the kingship in Yoruba, when a king dies, they clear the palace. In fact, the new king would have to go and construct his own palace. So that everything they did never comes to obstruct the new one. So all that kissing you're asking about, they did the kind of things, the way, what they kissed, how they kissed is amazing.
The thing they did was more than the kissing I'm asking. Okay, I get you.
I'm telling you.
Okay, Candy. So Candy, looking at all of this, so yeah, hello.
Yeah, before Candy comes online,
on being in love and falling out of love, or falling in love, falling out of love, all of that.
Abby, wait, before Candy comes. So, in respect to the wonderful achievements Candy and Michael have been through this last week, I dedicate this citation to the greatest American wife we know, living in North America, who has done very well, so much so that she builds furniture for Michael, and she just made him a hat.
Why is it that when we are going one way, you not just carry us and take us to?
I'll lose my train of thought. Wait now. And Michael got the best player award in And I think it's the state of Connecticut, right?
Yes, Giant Slayer. Giant Slayer.
Giant, you see, all
Giant
those
Slayer of
places.
Connecticut.
Giant
Yeah.
Slayer. The last Slayer I knew who slayed the giant was Jack. Jack, the Giant Slayer. But Michael did it. How did he do it? Because of Candy. He had Candy right behind him. And this is
I
what
like
I'm
that you are
trying to
living in their
understand.
house.
How, how else did he do it? There's no way he could have done it. So
We are
we're seizing
set.
this. We
Bros,
in
can we
Mongolo
move on with the
Queens.
show, please?
Okay, let me round up. We in Mongolo Queens would like to thank you and appreciate your exemplary leadership and virtuousness and
Ron,
wonderfulness in
what
the
I
room.
tell you,
So thank you, Fernando.
He's a
you're
mess,
a
isn't
hoot.
he?
You're a hoot.
I was
So,
actually going to say congrats to you as I was bringing you on to say congrats to you and Mike for the award. You know,
Thanks.
that's a massive achievement, and we're very, very proud of you here at Mongol of Croonings. But of course, he had to just do a whole sermon about the whole thing. So, so yeah,
I
Ifeanyi, welcome, welcome. I see you. We'll be calling on you soon. So, Candy, tell us what you think about this subject, and maybe you also want to talk about what Dr. Collier said.
So in terms of falling in love and out of love, I don't I it's hard to say because I every time I've always thought I was in love, I come to realize I was not in love. You know, it's
Mm,
not a matter of become knowing how what I feel for the person I'm currently I'm actually in love with now with
mm.
for the past what almost 10 years. And that love is not dissipating. It's not, I mean, no matter how much I want to kill him and wring his neck sometimes, I still get those flutters in my stomach sometimes thinking about him and the life we've built together. So I don't know, I cannot, I feel like I've thought I was in love with someone, and then and after a while I realized, okay, this is not, it's not, for me, it's not a matter of being in love and falling out of love. You just kind of realize, okay, this is
It
actually
was
not what
never.
I'm what I'm looking for. I actually find I don't really like this person, you know. So in terms of, so I feel like I've had more infatuations, let's put it that way. And
Mm.
then once my eyes kind of
Or
clear,
liking,
or they
like
show,
a like.
yeah, and then maybe they show whom I really get to know the person, and they really show who they are, and then I realize, okay, this person's not for me. So that's how what I feel about it. So I can't say now I don't know if I'm how what hopefully I hope to Mike and I spend the rest of our lives together, and none of us outgrows the love we have for each other, but who's to say, things happen. But then in terms of what did he say he's a doctor?
Yeah, Dr. Collier,
Okay,
yes.
I want to use the nouns. In terms of what the doctor said, he said some things that I found pretty profound that I agree with, like what he said about the enjoyment and what was it? Enjoyment and then having like a purpose, or what
Yes,
was it?
yes.
And I found that really profound because I think that really sums up my relationship with Mike. It's not just about enjoyment. One of the reasons why I fell in love with Mike is just because of his nature of wanting to change the world, make the world a better place. He's the award they mentioned, the Giant Slayer Award. He actually fights for people. He's one of those people who doesn't believe that, he believes people do bad things, but actually believes everybody deserves a first, second, third,
Second
fourth
chance.
chance. He really he's made me a better person, and through this, what he's doing, the enjoyment has come. So I found that really profound that he said that, because he works hard. He works that. I mean, that guy. His while his family comes first, his work comes a close second. Like he works hard. He puts all his everything. We went to we took the kids to the amusement park this on Sunday, and we went with two people. These were two of his former clients. It's rare you would ever see lawyers outside of once they finish a case
Mm-hmm.
interacting with their former clients. We invited his two of them came. They were brothers. They came with us. These were people that had been jailed as kids, and Mike finally got them out a couple of years ago. And my kids know them as uncle. People are like always shocked that oh, you're interacting with. I mean, honestly, before I probably would never have found myself even willing to consider, like, okay, if they're ex-convicts, like, no, I can't bring them near my kids. But he's really opened my eyes. He's made me see the world in a much different way. He's made me a better person. And I think that's important in a long-lasting relationship. You're learning from each other. You're bettering each other. Like he said, like I've always said, it's a partnership, and we benefit from each other. It's a give and take. So I think that's very. I agreed with all of that with what he said. Now my disagreements, my disagreements. I'm not sure what
Be
he meant
very careful,
about
though. Be
the
very
woman
careful.
lying.
But
The example you gave, I'm not really sure about the woman lying. Yes, motherhood is, a lot of women crave motherhood, but we also don't want that to be the only thing that defines us. I'm a mother. I have 2 kids. I love my kids. I love being a mom. Likewise, I would like to throw them away sometimes, wring their little necks. But on the other hand, also, I do have a career, and there's no way anyone would have made me give up my career, unless maybe I had a kid I needed like 24-hour care or something. There's no way. I feel like we can do it all. I don't know why a woman should be able to, if a man can be a father and have a career, there's no reason why a woman shouldn't be able to have a career. When the pandemic happened and we were trying to figure out homeschooling or whatever, Mike asked me if I would take a leave of absence. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I have no desire to take a leave of absence. We'll figure it out somehow. And you know what? He stayed home with the kids because he could work from home. And I did my visiting nurse. I went to, I don't think saying that I really think it's not right to say the woman lied. A woman can want to have kids, be a mother, and be an amazing mother, and still have a fulfilling career. We're not one-dimensional people.
exactly.
We're multifaceted. We can be defined by so many things. Being a woman doesn't mean motherhood is the only thing that has to define you. I just don't. I cannot accept that being I just can't accept that. So
I
that
totally agree with you,
yeah.
Candy, and that's why I wanted to hear your thoughts, because I could see your face when he was talking, because I was like, Dr. K, women are more than their vaginas and what comes out of it. We are a lot more than that. This is the thing, and you said something quite profound, which I think you then backtracked on when you went with that. You said human being. We are human, and then we are beings. That's it. We are both human beings. Now, because one is one gender from the other does not take away from their humanity or their being. They're still the same thing. They have dreams, aspirations, and
Ambition.
you'll find a lot of partners. Now, because it works both ways, you find a lot of partners who are dissatisfied. And the weird thing is that the dissatisfaction happens both ways too. You will see a man who's married a woman, he's made her stay at home. She's dissatisfied that she's at home. This man is just there. He goes out, he has a great time. She's with the kids and
So
all of
can I
that. And
interrupt
that's
real
when she
quick?
starts.
Abby, sorry. That
Yeah.
breeds the word resentment. And resentment can be the downfall of a relationship.
Yes. It brings resentment, which then brings indifference, because now she'll start trying to find fulfillment outside of her home. So or you see some women, they find fulfillment through Telemundo. And that's why when their husbands come on and they're speaking to them, they're like, I don't care what you're saying, I'm watching my Telemundo. Because it's replaced. They've used it to replace that, that ache, that thing that is inside of them that is angry. So when that man comes, his face is like, just get lost. I don't want to see you. Let me just watch the thing that makes me happy. And some people, they start, going to gossip with their neighbors, or they turn themselves into the neighborhood nuisance, or that's when they start looking at the cute little cutie down the road and start having that. And the same thing, you'll find the same man who has insisted that the woman should sit at home, telling his friends when he goes to the bar, Kai, that woman bores me. She bores me. She has nothing to say. I come home and it's Baba Emeka, the shirts, the school fees, the this. You're the one who made her like that, and yet you're being resentful also. And it blows my mind. Or it's the same thing with the woman who has rendered her husband fat and everything because I don't want him to have a gym body. I don't want, and then she's like, oh, my husband, he has one amusement park. He's not, and she wants to go out. Please just stay at home because this your stomach will enter the room 5 days before we follow it. I beg, I beg, I beg. I don't want people to think that I married a woman like myself who is more pregnant than me. And it's crazy how we as human beings sometimes actively destroy the very thing that we fell in love with. I saw a joke. Dr. Kole, you saw it too. It was on our forum. The joke about a woman will see a fine looking man and then destroy him with food so that only her can find him attractive. You saw it, right? Aha. So it's crazy how the very thing, because I remember the second instance of me knowing that, oh, I have fallen out of love was, and this was in uni, and in uni I was very, very active. I had my own theater group. I was also in politics, in school politics and all of that. And this guy met with me, found me, he found me fascinating about it and all of that, and we started to date. Shortly after, the very same thing that he found fascinating about me was what started to irritate him. Oh, do you have to go for another meeting? Oh, you're going for another rehearsal. Why is because my writing partner was a guy? Why is Mayowa here again? Or what is it that you guys are writing? And it was just crazy. It's the reason why you said you fell in love with me and you wanted to be with me. And I was crazy about him. But it was the very same thing that he started to resent. And it got on and on and on and on until, we started to get like, okay, we need to be out of each other's space. And it took a really traumatic thing to get out of the situation. But that's the notion. I think that's why, for me personally, I am terrified of this whole falling in love thing, because in my head, if someone say, I'm in love with you, I'm in love with you, all I'm hearing is there's something about it that I'm hoping to destroy later on. That's what I hear in my head. So that's just, again, what now that we're hearing that our grandmothers were like freaks.
One second.
So I want okay, yeah, okay, Ron, you speak that. Abby, then if yeah.
I just want to say something. Maybe Dr. Polly will understand where I'm coming from. Somebody after the show yesterday, somebody brought to my attention that do I know that it's only in modern time that a wife can go and work for somebody outside her husband. And I had never ever thought of it before in my life. Like I was just thinking, said never before in past history has industrialization made women to share loyalty between their husbands and their employers, that's their bosses. And to be sincere with you, and this is me being honest, I've never thought of it before. I've
never even heard of it before.
Even here in the US, it wasn't until World War I that women really started going out.
That's what he said.
The men were
gone. That's what he said.
But that's what the world is. We evolve due to the times, due to what's going on. We're evolving. So it might
I'll just throwing it.
Oh, okay.
I'm just throwing it in because of the discussion of I have to add value. Women is not just important and all that. And it will amaze you that a lot of women from that time were of value. None of them were used to. Like generally, women were very, very
it was
value.
that time, but we also have evolved. The times are different. Like it's we cannot look at the world today in the lens of the world back then. Yes, they had value, but there is a different world we are living in now. So you cannot, you can't. I know you're throwing out there, but
all of them always stay under the employment of their husband. They formed cooperatives. Women will come together and form cooperatives and sell. And it wasn't under the. I can't imagine my spouse being my boss. We will have problems.
No, I mean the thing is that yes, they did cooperatives, but the loyalty was always one directional. That's what I'm trying to explain. Now, loyalty is divided within marriages today. That's all. I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm not saying we should reenact it. I'm just trying to show you the difference between that
What
time
do you
and
mean?
that. That's all.
First of
I'm
all,
not.
Ron,
what do you mean
what's loyalty?
What do you mean
What's
loyalty?
That's the thing.
loyalty?
Divided?
Bumi
Okay,
saying Ron be tripping because aren't men's loyalty to the bosses that they have
No,
outside?
no, no.
The woman will
No,
tell them, our child is ill. Take care of the child, and I have to get to work.
I'm coming. Abby asked a question, a very important question. And let
What's
me
what's it like
explain.
in this context of what
Yeah,
you are saying? Because
yeah.
if
Let
we
me explain
understand
why.
you, then maybe we will get where you're
I know.
going. Because at
Yeah.
this point, what you're saying is going like off key. So, but if you explain what you mean by loyalty in this context, maybe it would help us to understand you.
Because I'm not.
You are all welcome to another segment of Ron Explains.
Okay, so it means that I'm on now. Nobody should interrupt while I'm explaining.
Oh,
Right?
Excuse you, don't you ever mute me again.
So
We will have problems.
I didn't even mute you. I didn't mute you.
You did.
You muted
You muted
yourself.
me.
You muted
No,
yourself.
you muted me. You muted
No,
me.
no, I
Then
didn't.
you are muted.
No,
No, you
when the video
unmuted me.
explained, hold on.
okay. I
When the
think
video explained, okay, so stop distracting me with your complaints.
okay.
So
Go on.
back to the serious thing I was about to say.
It's
Now,
before you say your serious thing, Ron. Before you say your serious thing, the question
you
is,
just
what is loyalty? Don't. It's not a session to give us a pistol. Just say.
You are all welcome to another segment of Ron Explains.
Oh my God, Ron.
okay. So
He muted
back
me
to what I was
again.
saying.
He
The
muted me
video
again.
mutes you. The video mutes you. Once the video is on, it mutes you, not me.
I don't want.
Okay.
Don't put that Ron explain. Just talk
Okay.
what you want to talk.
So that I don't get interrupted. I designed it for happy fans, particularly. So back to what I was saying. The loyalty in the sense that she's answerable. Now let me give you a modern scenario. Now today, an average wife. I'm not saying all women. Please, I'm not generalizing. An average Christian wife is loyal to her husband, her pastor, her boss. Wait, hold on. I'm going somewhere with this. Her husband, pastor, and boss. How does this loyalty, how is it helpful? A woman now can tell her husband that, oh, sorry, I can't come back, I can't attend to certain things, or I can't be invested in certain marital obligations because of A, I have to be in church service, or B, I have night duty at work, right? Again, I'm not saying it's bad or good. I'm just trying to explain what the loyalty is all about. But back then, it wasn't like this. Even when you have cooperatives, market women's day and all that, even within the women, they understood that once it's the man's time, like once it's time to, let's use the word service for lack of a better word, it doesn't really mean it, to service the man or whatever it is, the loyalty is 100%. Hey! Simple instruction. Can't you listen? Okay. So now, once the man, please now. Okay, so what now? There wasn't that kind of distraction back then because it was just everybody understood that the woman's husband is the, like, I don't want to say so, I want that candy. Is the slayer of the family, is the giant slayer of the family, and the woman is loyal to the man. But I'm choosing my words wisely. You guys are just making me walk around eggshells. I don't want to say anything that will trigger anybody.
Interrupt you.
You said don't interrupt you. Me, I still don't understand the loyalty you're explaining.
The loyalty I'm talking about is that in modern times, a woman's absolute loyalty to the man and the family is not guaranteed because of obligations outside the house. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's terrible.
So basically, she can't sex him.
Emergency,
Tell me one sex. She can't sex him. She has got to work.
Not necessarily. No. It could be cooking. It could be just being around. She just wants to see.
Is that food not in the freezer?
Right. I don't see that as. I really don't see that as what you define loyalty as. I mean, loyalty is a totally different. We have obligations as a if you're in a relationship and you both have a career, you do have obligations to that work. Just like my husband sometimes misses dinner because he has to be at a jail visit with his client.
I didn't say it's a bad thing. I agree with you, Candy. I didn't say it's a bad thing. I'm just saying.
What I'm saying is he doesn't have loyalty.
I'm saying loyalty is not the right word. Loyalty is like,
okay, let's say obligation, divided obligations. Are you okay with obligation? Okay.
But you say that both people in the family have divided obligation.
Good. Can I see? Before a man has to go and a man is programmed from birth that you must provide, you must secure, you must blah 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 blah. That's the formal order. But I'm just saying that now it's no more like that. Now you have options like the woman can do all that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm not saying it's good. That's all. I'm just pointing it out. That's when that guy sent it to me, I was shocked that I had never thought of it.
Okay.
You know what I call seke? Ron, you are seke.
Revise. Well, Bumitala says, Ron be tripping. He means male ego can't take competition. Now lie, Ron. African women worked outside the home for centuries.
Where is Bumi?
Tell him off.
Bumi does not introduce the word patriarchy. That gist will not be sweet. Anything you say.
No, but you are the one. You are the one that started this. The explanation or whatever that you're throwing into the mix was not relevant to the course of the discussion. At least so far. Now, Doctor explained everything that he was going to explain, even though he has a bit of hint of some little tiny bit that he showed, but it was still going with the flow. So I'm not even going to drag him or say anything about that, honestly, because when people, there's a way that you introduce a topic that you will say, say your absolute, say your truth first. And then the one that we know that this is you talking from your own manly variable, and you want to add it to the mix, we wouldn't mind, because you've already said the general. See, you are interrupting me now, Ron. Particularly you shouldn't interrupt me at all. At all. Every other person can interrupt me, but not you. I know I don't have the music, but don't interrupt me. Anyway, but seriously, all I'm saying is that it was really right. And I was listening with very, with rapt attention. I was just like, really? I was looking at it from the perspective of what I've said before. And I was also looking at it from the perspective of friendship, because sometimes when you do things together, when you have common goals, and when you're also, I don't know, updating your interest as well, not just, maybe the interest you had before is 10, like 100 years ago. And come on, things have changed. And there are times that people just automatically assume, like somebody said, I know women don't like football. I know all men like football. Not really. So it depends on bespoke or what happens to you. Now, I'm going to use an illustration that somebody told me. He said, my wife is doing this, my wife is doing that, but by the time the person finished talking, what I realized is that I said, I am not a marriage counselor, but just by talking, I could tell that you are the problem of your relationship. And yet, he's the one feeling sad. He's the one crying for help. Like, when they said, when somebody will say, somebody have been cheated, he's the one feeling that way, but he's the bad one in the relationship. Because you are not looking within. Okay, your wife did this, what have you done? So I started asking very difficult questions. I said, how is your other room affair? And the guy was like, are you going to be asking me that? I said, yes. You're an adult. You're not a baby. That shouldn't be a problem. He said, you see, even without talking, some people, all they need is that key. Some people, all they need is that talking. Have you spoken to her this morning? Have you done this? And you will be thinking, do you not speak to this person before? You have more than 5, maybe 5 children. God, 5 children. How did you people do it? Were you just closing eyes? So
They lay down
talk.
beside each other. Osmosis.
Are you doing mom? Are you doing mommy and daddy or something? Some missionary whatever. I don't know. Oh, talk.
Have you finished?
I'm not finished. Run.
Have you finished?
But you can talk actually.
No, okay.
sorry.
Before you guys talk, before you guys continue, I just want to address one person who's been dropping comments. Abdiasis, I can see from a lot of your comments that you have personal issues with women and with people being abroad. The airport is for everybody. It's
Wait,
not
what?
just for some people. No, because they're saying, if he was president, he would ban traveling abroad and everything. The airport is
That's not
wait,
fair.
now wait.
Now, Fumi drops,
No,
Fumi
Abby,
drops
you know what?
polarized.
Abby, read it
It's
for
not
us.
fair.
Yeah.
Read it.
Read his comments.
Okay,
Read his
let
comments.
me read it. Let me read it. So Abdiasis is saying, if I were the Nigerian president, I would ban the issue of going abroad. It has created clashing cultures. A lot of people are deceiving themselves with English, yet living a pretty desperate life.
Okay.
Then he also said some problems can't be defined in English. Dubai Sheikh doesn't go to work, yet they have better living conditions than average US working class woman. I mean, and then
Abby, so far
black women only respect money. Yeah, then black women only respect money.
Now you see that even though you think it's polarized, Bubiti dropped her own comments, and if we judge by your observation, these are two polarized comments by two different people.
The comments I'm even going with. This is someone who is saying this is not the first time, because last week he said, "Oh, the problem is people traveling abroad," and I'm like, "Why are you upset with people traveling abroad?" The airport is for everyone.
Let's just read the comments.
No, but Abby,
let the viewers decide.
Well, we might not agree.
Let's
what I'm saying is there's no need to attack people and say, the people living abroad. The airport is for everybody.
No, Abby, I don't think
I'm not saying
I don't think in that way.
You guys are misunderstanding me. Let me speak. Okay. I'm saying people living abroad are the problem. They're living fake. The airport is for everybody. Just travel your own. You don't have to be like, nobody will be allowed to travel out. It doesn't make any sense.
Abby, as much as I understand that his comments went off the hook, but what you're doing now is that you're giving him what he actually wants, because you can actually ignore that comment.
Or we can
move.
We can.
I'm reading everybody's zone. I'm reading everybody's zone.
That's what I'm saying.
Anyways, no
is making me laugh. I'm not upset.
Hello?
So, yeah.
Ron be tripping.
Yeah, Ron is tripping. Anyway, he was tripping earlier.
Already. I've read it out earlier.
Yeah, she did. Okay. She read it out earlier.
I read. That's what I'm saying. I read all of it out. It was his own. I hadn't read. So that's
okay. What was that?
Okay. So anyway,
allow the viewers to decide. Don't worry yourself. Don't stress. Don't stress yourself.
I'm not worried. I'm just like how I read out everybody's own. That's how I was like addressing his own.
Reading it out. Yeah, that's fine.
We
see one thing that I've also learned over the years is that we are not gonna be everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Some people can drink tea, some people can drink water and drop cup, some people can drink gari, some people can drink anything. So it doesn't really matter.
Me, Abby, and Candy don't always agree. And yet they love me the most. You see in this life, we just have to understand where we stand.
Yeah, so in the real sense of it, I get what Ron is saying. So let's just move away from that. So like I was saying, the bottom line is, from his own perspective, I was looking at it, I was looking deep. I think it came out from a very deep perspective, looking at it that, okay, there are fundamental issues that is wrong. As human beings, we get things wrong most times. We do things sometimes like in a very, I think selfish way. In a way, I think when he mentioned the issue of women lying and all of that, I wouldn't say lying. And this is the part where I'm going to agree with Ron for the very first time, or maybe second, that, one of the things that is causing this issue is that many of us are not, I think we're not knowledgeable enough to say that I'm not just going to mortgage myself because I'm getting married and then stick to, because I remember after having my first, and I said I wanted to go and work, when I was pregnant, I was getting very ill and I couldn't walk. So each time that they called me for a shift, my ex was going to tell me that, oh, I don't want anything to happen to my baby, blah, 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 she, as if I don't want the baby anyway. So in a way, it was using money to shock me. Like if I need, like if it's money, I'm going to pay you the money, right? But it wasn't money that I needed. I just want to go out. I just want to do something.
Yeah.
I just want fresh air. Anyway, so when I had the baby, after 3 months of me having baby, of course we couldn't claim anything. So after 3 months of having the baby, I said, you know what? I didn't plan it. So the agency that I was working for at the time, they just sent me a message to say, oh, can you start shift? I had a baby in July and they said, can you start a shift in September? And I said I was going to go for it. The earth was going to get loose. Everywhere was going back, goes back. Family member were supporting him like, no, you just have a baby. I said, but I'm the one, this is about my health. This is about my health. I just want to go out. It's not because I don't go out. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't sat in the house, but I just want to do something. This is a part-time job. It's not a full. I just want to go out. And so that's the perspective that people automatically assume that every woman, I have people who can take care of children more than I do. And I say it with my full chest that all the kids that I have, the looking after them is not my making. That's why I cannot take any other child to join my own children. It's not my making, because I know there's some women that everything about them is children. They are children or nothing. Yeah. But for me, I still have issues where I say, no, my children will do this, me, I will do mine. So if you look at it from that perspective, that you can be a mother, just like Candy said, and be something else. You can be a mother and if you chose that all you wanted to do is you being a mother and stop your career and leave it for now, that is your choice. As long as you're making an informed decision.
Exactly.
No one is going to kind of cajole you. But what they wanted to do to me at the time was that everybody, all odds was against me. Family, my own family member, not even outsider, aside from my ex, everybody, friends, family, colleagues, everybody was saying the same thing. But because I am who I am anyway, I just ditch everyone. I'm like, I'm going to go anyway. I'm going to go anyway. And so, and there were so many things that happened whilst I went there, because I need to mention that, there are times that I'm going to go to work and I'm going to feel like, oh, I'm saying, my baby's, I'm feeling that my baby's crying and my baby's crying. And I wanted to confirm that nonsense that when something happens, your baby's crying, my baby is crying. I want to confirm it to say that. Then I'm going to call. I said, can you put the phone next to my baby? And he will be like, why? So he was the one looking after the baby anyway. Be like, why? And he will be like, I said, because my baby is crying. He said, how do you know your baby is crying? I said, because I can feel it. And I realized I wasn't feeling Jack. It was just because I was cold. Do you understand what I mean? So because my baby was never crying. My baby wasn't crying because I was like, put the phone next to the baby. And I could see the baby just singing or, just watching TV and all of that. And I'm like, okay, so all those things that they've told us that, your baby will be crying. If your baby's crying, you feel something. Yeah, I don't feel anything because my baby wasn't crying all the time that I was feeling whatever that they said I was feeling. So I started looking at it like, there's so many things that we've been told. You cannot do this because this. You just had a baby, you can't do this. You just do this, you can't do this. And everything was blown up by myself. So I saw that there were reasons why they want people to stay at home after giving birth. But if that reason is being explained, then you know that it's not just about you sitting down at home. It's also about your health. It's also about other things. But the way they made it look like, it's a sacrilege. No, it's not a sacrilege. Tell me exactly why is it a sacrilege. So if people are, they are told, yeah, you can hear me. So if people were told exactly what they, what is at stake, then I want, if you say, don't go here, why should I not go there? Tell me the exact reason why I shouldn't do it. Tell me the exact reason why I should sit down at home all my life after sitting down at home for 9 months, and then another 1 year the baby is coming, you are telling me, so 2 years of my life sitting down. What if I hurt that baby? You never can tell. And this is how, you understand what I mean? People, and I started looking at the situation. I'm not proud about it, but at the end of the day, it's something that I did.
Not something to be ashamed of either.
And I'm not ashamed about it either, because that was my decision. If you had not been shocking me, if you had not been shocking my mouth with money, maybe I would have gone out when I was pregnant. But what?
I have friends there who are not maternal in any way. Wait, hold on. I have friends who are not maternal in any way, shape, or form. They're not maternal, but they have babies because everybody is saying, when are the babies coming? When are the babies coming? And they do not have any maternal instinct.
They begged me.
Keep them.
They begged me. My parents, they begged me to get married. They called family meeting on top of me. They changed the whole house just for me to get married. So left to me, all those things are not natural for me.
I don't know, Abby, though. I mean, Abby, what you said about women. Oh,
Candy, just 1 second.
Okay.
Candy, 1 second, please. Abby, you made a very erroneous comment, and you do this sometimes and get carried away with it. Thinking
what's erroneous comment?
What's Abby? Even Abby that is telling. Wait, hold on. Even Abby that is telling the story is confessing. Hold on. Even Abby is confessing to you that she's not proud of it, right? You shouldn't pamper her and tell her that it's all right. It's not all right. It's a non-maternal. I forgot what they call it in psychology. When mothers don't have that maternal instinct.
So she should wear sackcloth and be walking on the streets.
Would you rather run mad at that point?
We can't be pampering everything.
I'm not being pampering, but
that was how I feel at the time.
Be ashamed of it either.
No.
I'm not proud of it.
And I like what you did. You dropped a disclaimer and said you are not proud of it. I'm happy you said that.
And I said you don't have to be ashamed of it either.
The fact that you are not proud of something, if it's something that I'm ashamed of, I'm not going to talk about it.
Exactly.
Just remember that. So,
that's what I was saying, that you don't have to be ashamed of it, because you can actually talk about it in public. Like, you don't have to be ashamed of it to not.
If I'm ashamed of it, I won't say it here now.
Can I let's establish.
Yes, Daddy.
It's not okay. It's not okay.
It doesn't have to be okay. This is the whole point. This is the whole point of this, what we are talking about. That sometimes allow women to be the decision maker of their life.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir.
Before you even talk, because I said you don't have to be ashamed. It's not me pampering her. I'm saying you don't have to be ashamed to be able to just say your truth. Like, this is my truth, so I was not feeling that great about it.
That's not what you said. That's not what you said.
What was the statement? That's
not what she said.
There are 4 other people here. What statement did I make before Ron puts extra words in my mouth? Statement did I make? I said you don't have to be ashamed either. That's what I said.
Let Dr. Kale talk.
Then you went further. You substantiated your statement further.
Come on.
That there are many people. I'm going somewhere with this. You substantiated your statement by saying there are many other women like that, and you were saying it in such a way that it began to sound positive. That's why I jumped up and said,
there's nothing negative about it. If that's what you're thinking, there's nothing negative about it.
Can I say something that I wanted to ask Abby about? She said there are women who have no maternal instincts, and once they have the baby, what do they do with the baby?
They're pressurized. What I was saying is, I know
they're pressurized, so they're
pressurized into having babies, even though they don't want babies.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Well, I've had the baby. There you are. You take care of the baby."
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry,
there are women like that, and you know that there's one that is very, very close to my own life. Non-maternal at all, had no business having children. but because of pressure, had children. And what did she do with her children's lives? Fucks them up royally.
Well, that's what I was about to get to. I think I'm not sure if that's the same
That's my
thing
point.
with
That's
Abby.
where I was coming from.
No. See, what? See,
I was making a different point.
See, one rule doesn't work for everyone. What was wrong at the time, you don't know it. But I am saying to you that this is the way that I feel at the time.
Yeah, and I know, that's
and that doesn't mean that because I feel that way at the time, that is the norm for everyone else to start doing.
No,
you decide what works for you.
And I get that. I was just curious about the last part of what Abby said about the women.
No, I was making a different point. I said, and I know, I was saying that when I said to her, you don't, what I can't remember what I said now about not that
don't be ashamed about it.
Yeah. So I was saying, and I even know some women. So now I'm making a different point, not with Abby. Abby has made a point that's gone. I'm not talking about some women that I personally know who have no interest in having children, but they want to be married. And somehow that conversation never came up when they get in the process of marriage. And family now forces them, sits on them, have meetings, all that. You don't want to get pregnant. And then they go and get pregnant because family is on their neck.
Yeah.
And they don't have a single maternal bone in their body. And that's and what I was trying to say about that is that that's another dangerous aspect of this whole.
My point next was that I don't know that that's because I feel like you said that they had the baby and then that was it. They said, okay, now you've had the baby.
No.
That's a negative impact on a child. And I didn't think, because I thought you said
that was not what I was saying. That was not what I was saying. No, that was not what I was saying. Because if that was what I was saying, I wouldn't be the same person calling home to check if my baby was crying.
So
that was different. That was different.
Dr. Colin, you wanted to say?
Yes. Thank you very much. This is many discussions away, but I listened and I found out that you got me wrong.
Okay.
But before I say what I want to say, Ron, you just gave an award to Candy and her husband. I am going to look around. You deserve an award yourself. I mean, you are a man of valor to actually hold on amongst these women. If nobody has congratulated you,
I will meet you.
What was that?
Ron, you are a powerful man. From this day on,
to conclusion. He jumps to conclusion. He doesn't let anybody finish. When he is talking, nobody must interrupt me. But when other people are talking, you're interrupting them. Nonsense.
I doff my hat. So let me go back. Having said that, I will send the award through Abby to you.
You are never going to see. Never.
Let me now make a correction. I will make a correction. I think when I was talking, when I said motherhood as a career, that as should have been motherhood like that. There are it's like a career. I didn't mean it to say that was all women do. No, that just like you choose your career, you also can choose motherhood, and that it is deliberate, it is planned, and there are times when that lie that I said the woman lied. I was saying, you see, in my life, I have met a lot of, well, not a lot. I've met a few women that I thought that I was making all efforts to toast. Meanwhile, they had decided inside of them, yes, that
like bread.
I was already falling. It was not a case of my effort was to show them, to make it look as if I was the one. I was not the one who, it was, they had already decided that they were going to have me for dinner, but I did not know. Here was I making all the pata efforts, thinking that yes, but when I finally came down, they let me see that you were just, we were playing with you on little people. So it's the same thing I was trying to say, that when a woman is ready to have children, she could put everything aside. The man that will come in is actually coming in so that she could have her children. And all of the things, all of those running around, to me, will be a lie. And it's the same thing with a man. If a man wants to, because you don't hear what men are told in their family meetings as well.
Yeah.
They've been told that you need to settle down. So he meets this woman that ticks some boxes. What one lady said to me in DC was that most women have a no-go. Like some will say, if he uses drug, no matter who he is in the world, I'm not going to have anything. That line, they won't go below. But there are other things. Well, okay, at least we will just have children and then we'll go away. So that was what I was saying. That lie was not saying that the woman lies. It is just generally, if there's something that I have studied, it is that thing called lies. It is different from deception.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Because there is everything in life, everywhere you go. If you go to school, there are lies. If you go to church, the pastor who is telling you about heaven in very graphic terms, I've never been there. But here we are as congregants, we believe it. The politician that is telling you that when he gets there, he might mean it at that material time. He hasn't been there, he doesn't know what the pulse is, but from what he can see, that is the situation. If you come to school, we lie to you as well, that once you have taken this class, if you've taken your degree, you'll get a good job. It's a lie. You know I'm lying to you. I know I'm lying to you. So it's a trade of lies. So it's the same thing when what I was trying to explain about the woman who goes in and lies. Just so that, okay, we already know that I can have my way. The women know that they can have their way. There's hardly any woman who cannot. Yeah, the only time is that when you underestimate the man, or sometimes your estimation falls short. Because there are situations like that. So that's what I meant. So I didn't mean that women lie. I didn't mean that.
No harm done, Dr. Collins.
No harm done.
We completely understand. So Ifeanyi, okay, before we say Ifeanyi, Jennifer writes, hello, how are you doing? Ifeanyi, okay, can you come up and tell us? Dr. Collins, don't go away.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you, yes.
Oga Kole, I have a question for you. Like I said, I was the one that wrote. I don't collect jota. There's always a problem when I start to write. I have a question for you, but this question, I'll give it to you, then you think about it, and then you would answer as in after I finish what I was saying. So the question is, beyond the language disconnect, what I mean by that is beyond when you start explaining, first things first, I can see that your name has the intonation marking on how to pronounce it. That's interesting. We'll talk about that later. But beyond the language disconnect, meaning what we say, when I say I love you and what it means in Yoruba, what the West sees as love, because we're Westerly trained, let's put it that way, and what we Africans see as love, is there is disconnect. So it's just something to think about and you explain it.
Okay.
So going on that.
Dr. Collins will come back to you to answer that question. So let's give you some time to gather your thoughts.
I'll just highlight a few things while everybody was talking, and things that I believe were in line with what he was saying and what I have been taught. The Igbo word for I love you says ahom ginanya. It's a descriptive word. But the only time I've ever seen it translated in English is in the movie Avatar. Literally means I see you.
Oh.
But what they were trying to convey was, in entirety, I have looked at what I am looking at. I have seen what I'm looking at. I have dwelt with what I'm looking at, and I like what I see, and I'm willing to continue this journey with you.
With you.
That's the problem is when you want to go. The problem with it is, from the topic we're dealing with, loving but not in love. The problem with being in love is when you go buy shoe. My dad used to describe it like this: when you go to buy a shoe, you buy the shoe because of how it looks, how it feels as you put it on in the store. But you never really appreciate that shoe until when it has done its course to the end and you're about to throw it away. You don't remember how it looked when you bought it, but you remember how that shoe feels throughout the time you were wearing it. It was the most comfortable shoe I had. It was the shoe I loved. It went everywhere with me. I could enter anything with it. And the funny thing is, by virtue of the experience you've had with wearing that shoe, when you're going to buy the next shoe, the qualities you look for will no longer be how it looks, but how it feels, and the journey you're about to take it on. So what that says is simple: loving but not in love. I have a problem with the word in love because yes, we can fall out of it. That's what it is. But what should be driving is, on the long run, 30 years from now, can I consistently love this person? Translating it in another word is, can I consistently grow with this person? There's this thing about when we approach our relationships, because of how we've been raised, Hollywood does a number on us. We do what do you call his name? We do Disney. We do a lot of Disney. Cinderella.
Walt Disney.
Yeah, Cinderella.
And I said this
girl
in the
was
same.
poor. The girl was poor, meets the prince. Prince meets we finally end up with a grand wedding. But the problem with Disney is that it never shows us the life after, or what happens afterwards. And without knowing it, we have also imbibed it. So we don't know. Beyond the big wedding, we don't know what we should do. Now, part of the problem is because we always look at becoming an adult as absolute. So what that means is, if I grow till I'm 21, I'm now an adult, I stop growing in our minds. But as a human being, you continue growing. So that means even in your marriage, you're going to continue growing. So for that thing called marriage to grow, means both of you have to understand that this development will continue, both as individuals and together. So if I like salt, at some point my BP will come into consideration and I cannot like salt again. I have to change to something else. If I used to watch Nigerian movie, if I used to watch Oyibo movie, nowadays seeing RMD might make me want to watch Nigerian movie more. And we adjust. Why? Because there's this thing, practice makes perfect. And I've seen it, people now say, no, practice makes improvement. That's beautiful. But the truth is, perfection inhibits growth. So whenever you have young ladies here that are listening and go to watch out for the 6 foot black guy, tall guy that drives a Jeep, ask yourself, is that the destination or that's your starting point? Because at some point, if that's a destination, then don't marry that guy. If you have a starting point, think about it that you're going to go 30 years with this. Just to, and Ogakole said something that is very interesting. He said the olden days, they did things and they were secretive. The truth is, the secret they shared together kept them. Half the time, when they remember what you've done in the other room, they will just hide themselves and laugh about it. And because they are quiet within it, they want to go and do it again. It's simple. And half the time,
You that I need upside down wheelbarrow with.
Yeah, it improves the bond. You might see your children do something and you see the guy jump from the chair to the floor and landed on top of his brother. And you say, you look at your husband and be like, did I say we'll try this style? You have to jump off the box. Let's see whether it helps. They did it, but they were quiet. They were secretive. The secret kept them together. And that led them to a whole lot of things. The question Candy was raising is, there's this thing the saying that says we cannot throw away the baby and the bathwater. In reaction to Candy, yes, we might not be able to go back to what we were in the old times, but there's a quotation, the Bible quotation that says, do not move the ancient landmarks. It says that, but it also gives you, because what the ancient landmark does, it gives you a foundation to build on the future. So we can't throw away the baby and the bathwater. So, but what can we do? There's this absolute that we have, that culture was all the time bad. But remember, culture was an accepted way of a people. So what we can do with it is build new cultures, still not neglecting the old good ones, but build new cultures. And building new cultures will mean that we will have to try and test everything by fire. So
review it.
And I actually agree with that. I wasn't trying to say let's forget.
no, I wasn't disagreeing with you. I'm just piggybacking what you were saying.
Oh, okay,
And because again, even if we ask ourselves, the truth is, this our new modern way of thinking. Have we done better or worse? The truth is, we can't answer it until the future answers it for us.
No.
So our kids in the future will look at us and be like, "These people were mad," though. And we
If
too will
I
look at our people
if
and they were
we
mad.
even want to ask, if because these are the things, if we want to say, oh, okay, we've already moved the landmark, so maybe we should decide what are the new landmarks. Who are the people who are going to decide it?
It's
Are the
still the
people going to
future.
be agreed on the
It's
decision?
it's the
Because
future.
the way the world is now, in fact, it's like dissent is the new assent. It's like
Yeah.
everything you can disagree with it, because
Yeah.
that's what works.
Hold on,
And it's
let me not
crazy.
lose my train of thought a bit before I drop anything else. Now, in
Okay.
recent times, what I've been, and to buttress that point, to ask, so what shall we do? Because I actually also mentioned something that's very interesting. Talked about you just don't bring a problem without a solution, recommendations, or whatever. But what shall we do? Actually, the truth is, in trying to understand what we're doing now and going forward, is rather than thinking that we have all the answers. It's a quote. Rather than thinking that we have all the answers, you need to be able to ask great questions. The questions we need to ask are why and what was in our past. Why I mentioned that was because when he started, his name has the intonation on it, and it gives a lot of memories. And I'm saying this because the leadership we need now is people who are going to be able to plant trees that they will never sit under their shade. So people who will be able to say, okay, let's correct some of these things, and that's why this forum was made, if I'm right. So the truth is this: we are struggling because we have adopted something without explaining it. We have adopted love, what in love means, watch the movies, we have put that as love. Is it possible that we can really redefine what it means in terms of an ongoing process for a very long time? And the last thing I wanted to say was, I wanted to ask Ron, when Ron said loyalty was one directional, it will interest you to know that in as much in Igbo land, there were always the women that had their farms and had the young men that come to help them in the farms. If they tell you what happened during that time, you will not believe it.
Right.
You will not.
Ron has
You will not believe
disappeared.
it. You will not. You will not agree with it. You will not even think it will ever happen because it wasn't. There was that loyalty. However, too, even piggybacking on that, they did what they needed to do so that the man would feel like the head too. And like you said, they were the neck. They knew what it is. Even when you look at things like Things Fall Apart, Ekwefi will talk about Things Fall Apart, one of these other ones. Achebe at some point mentioned something, talk about new traders that will come and help the women farm. Now, as regards culture too, in my culture, I'm Igbo, but in my culture, Edda itself, leave Igbo, let's go to my dialect. It is interesting also to know there's a very, I'll call it dirty, but at the same time, I wonder why they instituted it, where the boys had to be sent away to go and become men. But when they go away to the bush, they send widows and unmarried ones to go and feed them. But we understand what that dynamic was about. They needed to send these women who obviously had a sexual need to be met, and the boys who needed to learn how to meet that need. And something happened, but we never spoke about it. We don't talk about it. So there are those.
But they had experience also. Experience.
Yeah, there are those pointers in culture that are there. That's basically what I do. But it is important that let's not deviate far from what the topic is, because the topic is interesting. One is supposedly supposed to be a verb. The other one is supposed to be a state. So loving is a verb. You're going to continuously do this thing. Like I like what Oracle said. The first thing he said is a responsibility. Means you will show up for work even if you don't feel like it. You will stay there. The other one in love is a state. And the problem with the state right now in our present world is that we as young people, we love states. A state of highness, a state of enjoyment, a state of feeling good, a state of happiness. However, we don't like things that might last, a state of joy, a state of ups and downs, a state of let's take a big look at it. So loving, it's a little bit deeper from what I can see than just being in love. So it's possible for a very long time. It's not that state of being in love will come and go. But
Go.
what you should actually aim for is, can I love this person? Can I wear, and think about in terms of, can I wear that shoe? So at the end of when this shoe is going, which is possibly maybe death, you can say, hey, we wore this shoe well. We tried.
Yay, Bumi's here.
Yay!
Hey, Mr. H. Hi,
Ify,
Boomy.
honestly, I love what you're talking
You're mute.
about.
Bumi, wait. Bumi, you're mute. Bumi, you're mute. Bumi, you're mute. Mute,
Because
mute,
that
mute,
was actually
mute.
going to, yes, and now.
Okay, continue.
Hello,
All right,
We
we
can
can
hear
you
hear
hear
you.
me?
We can hear you.
you.
So
Yeah.
at what point? Because again, when you're thinking of, okay, yes, people, the Western world looks at love as a verb and all that stuff, but there there is some good in it, because it shows that it's an action. It's something you have to do. Now we know that saying noun is something you have to be. You have to be a lover. You have to be the one in love. You have to be, loving towards your family, because it's a responsibility. But that noun also carries a verb, the action of being a lover, the action of being responsible, the action of
Mm.
taking care of your family. And it's sometimes both in the noun and in the verb, the noun no longer works and the verb no longer works, because people either get sidetracked, they feel comfortable. I've gotten the man, I've gotten the woman, I don't need to do anything much. Okay, we have the children, what else do I have to drop here? I'm giving them money to go and do whatever they want, so that's fine. And they don't cultivate. It is the cultivation of
Yeah.
that interest, of that, what makes you and I tick, what makes, when you and I walk into a room together, we understand each other. It might not be the whole fusion of sex or whatever, but it's that understanding. I was watching a film yesterday. It was a Nigerian film, and a man walked into a room and was saying something to a couple, and they just leaned back a bit, not too much that was obvious. They just leaned back a bit and looked at each other and just went, and they just nodded. And without speaking with each other, their answer was the same. What they were going to do was the same. And it's that understanding where you are constantly, because if you don't constantly work at it, you can't have silence, not, you can't have those non-verbal communication. You can't have it, because someone you're not talking to, someone you're not doing anything with, you can't have it. So there's a place where the noun and the verb have to coexist together, I think. So I'm just piggybacking on Ifeanyi there. So Bomitela, welcome. Hey, Dr. Kala, be afraid. Be very, very afraid.
No, you guys, this was a great show. I was listening while I was working. I loved it.
After you abuse me.
Eh?
After you finish abusing me.
Of course.
I don't know who was abusing. It's always feeling like
You
I'm
know you be
abusing.
tripping.
You love it, Ron. You know you love it.
If Bumi does not abuse you 1 week, you will fall sick.
Honestly, you miss me now.
I know.
So Bumi, please, your thoughts.
Just a quick thought. I liked what Ifeanyi said.
Yeah.
I think it's worth exploring his point about what love means to Africans versus what it means to Westerners. I think really the better question is what it used to mean versus what it means today. Like, I write a lot about how romantic love is a 21st century idea, how people were marrying for millennia without romance or love being a part of it. Marriage was very much like an economic decision for families and communities, states, even empires, even. And even though I'm human, I enjoy romance in the industry, and falling in love is real and it is a thing. I feel like we see it as synonymous with marriage itself and raising kids and families, and it really shouldn't be. That's just a little bit more important. than, you know, falling in love and
Who is
experiencing
this for me
feelings
soon?
for
What's going
someone.
on here? Is this a real Bumi?
Ron, just be quiet and be happy because you know that you're loving
Uh-uh.
everything I'm saying right now.
He
Oh my
is.
goodness, I can't believe this.
But I'm not saying there's anything wrong with love and romance, and I think this is where a lot of Nigerian women especially get frustrated because we're quite, you know, modern, and of course the Western way of seeing this and the more modern ways of seeing this, it's better for women because more traditional ways tended to be sexist. So our women run with the whole romance thing, but it's worth knowing that, you know, like marriage is a little bit bigger than that. Like Harvey was saying earlier, that they literally, you know, forced her into it and talked her into it. You can't do that today. Like even back then you could get away with it because we had extended families. If you weren't maternal, there were lots of other women around you who could chip in. Now it's
Bumi,
just
you're
you.
seriously echoing.
What? I'm echoing?
You're seriously echoing. Who has Mr. H? That would be you. You're always the culprit.
Oh,
You know, it could be me because this is on my desk as well, and I'm in the bathroom.
No, Mr. H has. It was Mr. H.
Oh, okay. Well, that was it anyway. So I'll go back to listening. I'll jump on if you're still here when I'm done.
Okay, so Dr. Kole, have you had enough time to think about the questions? Thank you, Bumi, for your contributions.
Yeah, look, if I really, this is what they say that he hit his head on the nail. You know, they always say you hit the nail on the head, but this is really, you know, he put it together, and I took notes very quickly. I was typing furiously. You know, is there a disconnect in the way the West express? Now, I am, and I'm sure if I will get what I'm trying to do, I'm going to flip his original, and I'm going to insert word that will change what he said. You know, is there a disconnect in the way the West express love and the way we non-Westerns see it? So, there are various ways of seeing. You know, and I have always said, for me as a child growing up, what I saw and what it is what I was told. What is beautiful, because when I got to America and I tell them about Lek Mashandi and Orobo, that the women with big backside and big boobs were regarded as the beautiful ones when we were growing up. When I came to America, they felt that those women were sick and that the thin Beku were the beautiful ones. And when I looked around me, I saw that most of their women were slim. So the thing is, if you go from the physical to the cognitive or to the intellectual, that even what they encoded, what they termed as beauty, was not what I was coming into this culture as. So I had to learn that for them, it was the physicality. Again, another level of the expression is that there are women who love gifts. Because it is not the gift, it is how they decode the gift. To them, you have embedded your affection in that flower. Till tomorrow, as I'm talking to you, I still cannot, in all honesty, take my money, go and buy flower and give to a woman. I don't understand it. I still will follow the joke that if you give flower to a Nigerian woman, she will use it to hit your head. No, because it is just not our way. And then somebody opened the dictionary of flowers to me, that all of those things they put together is actually a statement. But my dear, I am totally out of that. So if you come along with me, you would see that I'm painting a picture of how expression of love appears and how it is so alien to me. If the expression of it is different, I I will have to use this word, and then maybe I would explain it, or maybe I can find a way. The ontology of it, what it is, what is love, first and foremost, to an average African. It's like somebody, my name is Odutola, and somebody in this country will stand up and ask me whether I believe in God. How can I carry a name like Odutola and I have not distanced myself from it, and you're asking me whether I believe in God? So there are some things in the African way of knowing, and African, some of the traditions in the African continent, and you have cited the example of Igbo that has to do with visuality. You know, I see what I like, meaning that it is, yes, Mandela will tell you that action and thought can be unified because you've had a long time to think about it. So when people see you take action, they could ask you, did you think about it? So if somebody from the Igbo culture sees a woman and likes that woman and expresses it, that this is, I like what I see. Yeah, that vocalization of what is before this person is coming also from a history. One of the things that we might not agree on, if is the fact that our individuality is subsumed in its collectivism. I as a Yoruba person, that pronoun I is a lie. In the first instance, Yoruba does not have a pronoun for he, she, or it. All of it is one word. So I know that that pronoun I is a lie, because there's a collective inside of me. There's a collective inside of me that acts. And that's why they say that no matter what you see, I stand on the shoulders of giants. And it was because they have already lived this life. So how does that relate to love? Yes, the thing that I have seen and not seen, because learning for me has not only been what I was told. It has always also been the beingness of what surrounds me. So the whole concept of love, the West is very material, and sometimes they encode things in materials, and that material thing would have to be decoded by somebody who knows it. In the Yoruba culture, for instance, you have to stand outside of that object and learn it. And there are rites of passage where you begin to learn and you get socialized into loving. You do not start with a human being. There is a very short story of a young man who said, "Dad, I'm ready to marry." And the father said, "You? Okay." And said nothing. And brought a bike, a mechanical object, gave to the child. And at the end of the month, the child came back and said, the tires, I need money for vulcanizer. The man gave him. The seat has this, the man gave him. And he was constantly going back, and the man said, "I have not even found you a human being. Just a bicycle you can't maintain. You're constantly coming back. How are you going to maintain a human being?" So there are things, and if you remember that, though today we cast aspersion on the intermediaries, those, we call them alarino, those that look to choose for their children. You know, somebody said that I loved the man I found. I did not find the man I love. I love the man I found. When they bring that man into your consciousness, you have to find what is in you to love the man. And to love him means that you have been socialized into understanding what love is. love is not only the errors, the things you get, the smooching and all of that. In fact, it is one of the unripe fruits of love. The love that I think that I was socialized to believe is that love that contributes to the development of somebody. My dad would always say, you, Oracle, if you will not make my life better than you met it, at least be sensible enough to live it the way you met it. That is our definition of love.
Oracle, let me say this. Thank you so much. It's wonderful listening to you, and you just pointed out something that answered the question, which is really nice. Before we speak the language of someone else, we should try to understand the code of the language of someone else. Because you explained that, especially with the flowers. I, for one, know that it's I'm how do you call it? I, for one, is stuck in a very funny place. Like you said, I am purely Nigerian. My wife is Nigerian, but she grew up in the UK for a while. For the longest of time, from 90 or 28 or thereabout. So purely. So, but you can imagine if I go to the airport to meet her and I do not bring flowers, she would probably not understand. I'll ask myself, why am I carrying flowers? What is this one? But like you said, it's the language that it is. And then Habi mentioned something that makes sense. It will lead me to say this, that before we adopt a culture to become our own, we must first of all learn the intricacies of that culture, and so that we can speak the language fluently and better. That way, it stops us from saying things that we don't mean or things that we don't want to say. But I just wanted to say thank you for this. I hope that they will bring more topics that we can pick your brain and write it down somewhere. That is.
Una go pay me. Una go pay me because this Dr. Kole will bring for una for free. Una just they misbehave anyhow. No more.
I hope we can pick
Candy, you and Abby, don't worry. Anytime you and Abby want Dr. Kole, don't worry, you will appear. But you see this man, and you, Mr. H, you too, yeah, among people that will get Dr. Kole for free. But you see this man, but I'm not giving them.
Because what I was saying is, it is becoming unheard of that there are people that are willing to do what our fathers used to do, which is called spit in a child's hands. The problem with that is because if you're not close enough for the old man to spit in your hands, you'll never know the history of where you're coming from. That's why we had those problems where the slaves were the ones that learned while the children did not learn. Because the slaves carried the seats for the chiefs and had what was in council. So it's becoming
and
very
that's
hard.
the beauty of questioning.
Yes.
And listening.
So I just want to say, piggybacking on what Ifeanyi said, I think this has been I think this is one of the best, my opinion, this is one of the best shows that we've had because a lot of, like I said, not that I agree with everything and we've talked about that, but a lot of the things he said, it's just like, it makes me feel like I'm doing something right in my life and in my relationship. And like, I mean, I don't have the vast experience or whatever, but I can just, like I said, a lot of things that he said is very profound and is exactly how I see my relationship. Like he said about, love should be about bettering each other. I always say it wrong.
It's a service,
When you say all these qualities of loyalty, and I'm like, how do you say you love someone without having all those things? How do you say you love someone without wanting to help them grow? How do you say you love someone and watch them suffer?
It's a vice versa.
It just, I don't know. I just really feel moved, and I just think everything.
In continuation of what Candy has just said, apart from her glowing from the achievements her family, her husband, and
oh my God, can you stop talking about
that? I want to point out that this show has been this episode has been one of my best because I just can't imagine.
You will say,
Can I finish?
No, because he's always abusing anytime I bring topic. Oh yeah, I'm listening. I'm waiting for it.
And the reason why I love this episode in particular is because I have never, I'd almost given up at some point, giving up hope. until Dr. Colley came as a savior. Because these are things okay, maybe it's the way I say it.
No.
Maybe
These are
it's the
things.
way I
These
say
are
it.
not things that you have said.
Yeah,
These are not because what he has said, and without trying to make him feel uncomfortable, we're just saying it as it is. What he has said, he talked like, like when somebody is looking at the cause of something, the root cause, rather than symptoms, which is what you talk about every single time. Oh, this.
And
You
you have
to
so
bring...
much to learn from Dr. Colley. He has so much knowledge. But have you ever seen him say, hey, let me break it down to you. Hey, let me explain to you in a way you understand. Can you see that you have so much to learn? Can you see you have so much to learn?
For me, even though
there's the what's happening is we're looking at the lion and the draw.
Exactly, Sha. Exactly.
When the show was going on,
they get how old man they
when
bring
the show
that
was
something
going,
to you. Ron doesn't have the patience yet. He's getting there. When Ron gets
Is he gonna get there the way he's doing? He's not far
Problem,
the difference between Dr. Colley
but
and
he
I
believes he knows everything.
is wisdom, his gray hair, and his maturity. I think that's the difference between he and I. He shows that he has been around for a while and he understands this thing.
See,
my problem is that I'm coming. My problem is that yes, I'm young. Yes, I'm impatient. It's true. And the difference is that my generation is moving at a very high speed that if we don't control this car that we are driving, we're going to smash, and we're going to smash really hard, right?
Yeah.
So
Dr. Colley is still in this generation. No, he's not in 1805 generation. He's still here.
No, but Ron, I agree with what Ron is saying, Sha. If we continue this way, we will smash.
See, Ron, what you are doing, if I define it this way, don't be offended. What you're doing is called honesty without compassion. And that's cruelty.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you're doing. You are bringing your truth out the same way as someone that I don't want to mention. Honestly, exactly. Honestly, without compassion. You are right.
You know what this Jota is for?
Did you see what you've done now? You just jump into my conversation.
No, I just don't want you to lose the line of the train of thought. Do you know what this Jota is for?
Are you
every
label?
You people call me on every show. I've been taking note of them.
It's done, but you can write it down. It doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is that, see, there is a way you can present your truth. We all have our truth to present, okay? And I know we have ways of doing something.
Truth is not multiple.
Wait now.
Suggest internship for
wait now. You know, like a child. You know what you are saying to us now. We are grown up, and probably you have children, and not probably you have children, right? And they are females, and the way that you want them to be is what you are trying to, preach to the world. Like, okay, telling women have to do this, but there's a way to present your truth in a way that it doesn't come as being, I don't know, cruel. You are passing the message. I'm not saying you should pamper people, but I'm saying that when you are talking, you know what you did today, and I will give you credit. No, I'll give you credit today because when you were talking today, you were very careful. This is the run that I've never seen in a long while.
Can I?
No, I don't think it's because of Dr. Colley. I think he was just very intentional and very mindful of what he was saying.
In nursing, we call it therapeutic communication. That's what it is.
You know why I was sounding like that? You know why I sounded like that?
Why?
Every day after the show, I have this reflection. I really like. You see, the thing is not about hating anybody. It's about I have information I need to put out, right? I've tried the nice way. I've tried the hard way. It's not working.
You've never been nice, Ron.
When has he ever done
be wrong?
People push back when you're not. Yeah.
Next week I'm going to try some level of political correctness. Let me see if it actually works. Maybe I can get through.
It's just presentation.
Politically correct. Like I said, you have to have a way when you want people to listen to what you say. Let me use the nursing as an example. If I go to when I'm talking to my patients, if I just tell them you need to do this because of that, a lot of times it doesn't register. But you have to communicate with people in a way that, first of all, they don't feel like you're belittling them. They don't feel like you're condescending,
you're bashing them.
At that time that you're gonna get pushback. Nobody
has time for that.
That's why we call it therapeutic communication. You have to know there's a way to try to convey what you're trying to say for people to actually hold up and be like, okay, maybe this person actually has a point. Let me think about it. But when you just go with your gra way, like
I guess
last week, Candy, last week, after we finished the show, Ron and Ifeanyi stayed on and we were talking. And we later on came to the question, and Ifeanyi asked this question. He said, okay, Abby, what is it that you women want from us men? And I said, number one, stop talking to us as if we are children and we don't have brains. Most of the people who are on this panel are married or were married or something. So these are adult women who chose to be married. It's not as if somebody carried bongo and went and banged on their head, dragged them into their house and was like, you're not my wife. And to then carry a cognitive, intelligent person because you have put a ring on her finger and then automatically assume and behave like she doesn't have anything in her brain anymore. She's not stupid. And they want to be choosing her clothes, choosing her friends, choosing her this. Women don't know. They're not very smart when it comes to choosing friends. So I have to tell her the kind of friends she's going to choose. And I'm like, you can't be to wait now. I'm talking to Candy. And I said, you can't be speaking to us like that. You can't. The same way you want to be respected because you're a man, it's the same thing. You have to respect us because we're women. Because at the end of the day, we are adults. We are not children. So I pointed that out to Ifeanyi. And Ifeanyi, you agreed with me, Abi, you not agree with me.
No,
I'm talking
we
to
had a long discussion.
Now I'm talking to Ifeanyi. Ifeanyi.
I don't think he's there.
Ifeanyi will not pretend like he's asleep.
Okay. Now, I like what you said. You brought out, this was the first statement you made. Both of you were not there. Abby wasn't there and Candy wasn't there. So the bone of what Abby was saying was that.
Was I not there last week?
No, you had gone. You had gone by the time.
I've gone, okay.
So the bone of what Abby was trying to say is that she sees men when they are talking to their wives or other women, they kind of like talk as if they are talking to kids and all that. So we allowed Abby to express herself. We didn't interrupt Abby. Abby made a lot of points, which we took notes. Then we gave her reasons. We gave her practical examples, like real life practical example. And guess what? Even Abby was angry when she heard them. Like, even she will not tolerate it. You get what I'm saying? Now,
I've always said I'm an equal opportunity offender.
I agree. Now, I need women to understand. Men don't hate women because they are saying that. Sometimes it's born out of protection. And I explained it to Abby. It's born out of protection because, one, if I tell you, right, listen, I say, Abby or Candy, walk straight, turn to your right, you'll be safe. Nothing will happen to you. Naturally, female instincts will say, no, why must he be the one to tell me?
Wait. It depends on how you say it. It depends on how you say it.
No quarrel. There's no quarrel. No quarrel.
It depends on the relationship.
Simple is.
No, wait.
We're listening.
Just continue what you're saying. Continue.
It's just a very simple direction. Or if I use instruction, they say it's commanded. If I say direction, they'll say I'm directing. But just simple information.
Just continue.
On how to escape wahala and be safe. Naturally, and I'm not saying so women are exceptions, right? Naturally, women tend to question that information. Like, why must you tell me this? Do I not have eyes? Don't have brains? Can't I see where I'm going to? Then she might not tell it to you in your presence. She'll wait, maybe after you've gone. Then as soon as she has the opportunity to make that journey, she'll walk straight and turn left. Then she falls into a ditch. Now, the man who left the information earlier on is somewhere else, moving on with his life, doing something very productive. Then all of a sudden, somebody starts crying, I don't know how to tell you. That thing you said I should not do, I did it, and this was the outcome. And I'm surprised women are always shocked that the way men react, like, why did you do this? And it's not that we hate anybody. We're not trying to control. Most time, it's originally at the core. It is born out of love and protection. It's not hatred. It's not control. It's not trying to bully you. No, that's not what it's all about. It's all about protection.
Ladies, wait. Now, when we were having that conversation, I said, when he said, you tell somebody that, and I said, it's how you deliver the message. I'm about to go and they say, honey, don't go down that road though, because if you go down this road, I'm like, I'm somebody with a brain. You will tell me, babe, there's a ditch on this side though, so that's why I don't go on that side. Exactly. And then he used an example of a woman that he knows, and I didn't want to go into it because I was tired and I wanted to go. But the very same thing he accuses me of, minority report. That was a minority report. That was one person. But I can assure you that majority of the women that I know, if you explain something to them purpose and say, oh, babe, don't go down that place, because when I was coming back, I saw that there was a big ditch. Why would they then suddenly get in the car and go, is that place where you said there's big ditches? That's why I want to drive. They're not mad now.
I think what we are not looking at is talking people through our decision making process. So if I want to make a decision, it's like the kids that we are having now. I can't tell my kids now that to say they go to school 8 o'clock in the morning, for instance, and I just decide for God knows what reason, and I decide that on this particular day, what I want them to do on this particular day, what I want them to do is that they have to leave home at 7. That doesn't make sense. Why do I want them to leave home at 7? So if you talk people through your decision-making process, it shouldn't be any problem. Because that's why you're together. One person, two people, one is saying do this, and it's not do this like you're telling a child, because even today you can't tell a child do this without explaining why you're saying it. Don't go out in the night. What are the dangers? My daughter was telling me the other day that she wants to be jogging. She wants to be jogging at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I said no.
Sorry.
And I explained the reason.
How you people are discussing something entirely different from what
how is it different?
Let me repeat myself. No, what I said is that simple instruction was given with complete information. I'm coming.
Oh.
Complete
information.
One
person.
I'm coming. Hey, God.
So he told her about the ditch. He told her.
Yeah, I told her about the ditch.
Okay,
don't go there.
You just said walk a straight line and go back.
Okay, sorry. Let me rephrase again. Yeah. In most cases of this issue we are discussing, full information is always given. When I say full information, because Abby said I did minority report, and when she wanted to do a report, she said people that I know. I'm not even talking about people I just know. I'm talking about a general. When I say general again, general is not 100%. So let me be careful.
Okay.
Not 100%. There are other people are. Listen. Just like we have logical men, there are also women that are logical. Okay, so let's not get that let's not get it muddled up. Now, what I'm trying to explain is that this is a common denominator that happens within man and woman relationship. There's, especially today, there's always that urge to fight. Why must this information come from you? Why can't I
I don't agree with that though.
I know you're logical now, even though you want to do.
No, I don't agree with that. You can't give me information now, and you've explained the reason for that information. Why do I want to go and explore other things? If you've given me reason to do something, and you know what you're doing.
This is exactly what I was explaining to Abby. That's what the example is about.
I agreed with you. That the woman was crazy. I agreed with you that if a woman has the full information and still goes to go and do the very wrong thing. No, I said I would be mad at her too. Like the way her husband was mad at her. Because it makes no sense to me. If somebody has given me full information and said, this way is dangerous, so because I was coming back and I saw that there was danger, why then will I not decide that that's the road I want to pass? I know that I
Okay,
have a
now,
little bit of freaky, but my freaky not reach like that.
okay, now on the show, sometimes now, and that's why I've stopped giving pushbacks and I allow everybody to do what they want to do now. I don't do that pushback anymore. Sometimes I say things, right? But because it's Ron that said it, and again, people have said that it's the way I said it. Okay, I
And
agree.
your
No problem.
reputation now, your reputation,
No problem.
you have
I
to
agree.
repair your
I accept.
reputation.
I accept all responsibility for my harshness. No problem. I agree. But at the end of the day, you find that even with this my harshness, we still come back to square one. And you guys still wonder why?
Ron, you have worked almost a year of giving us a bad taste. So for us to now to listen to you, you also have to give us almost a year where we now think, okay, you know what? When I say Ron, don't they become responsible?
But you're
No,
an adult. You shouldn't be
no, but
experimenting with
because of the way you've
wrongs.
been talking, so anytime you talk, it's like when somebody, as soon as you see the person, you just you don't. When people ask what did that person say, you can't even remember because you didn't even bother to listen because that's the way they talk. So when we see about maybe 100 shows and you have changed, then we will. So Mr. H, you haven't said anything. You've been quiet. Oh yeah.
Yo,
Time to talk.
can I know what the topic is?
Oh,
Because I had a lot of
the
things. Yeah.
topic is, hey Hernandez, how are you?
You remember me? Yeah, that's crazy.
Long
Yeah.
time no see.
Yeah. Look,
So we're talking about
he went bald. Yeah.
loving but not being in love. So loving someone but not being in love. How do we get there? How do people who were in love before suddenly stop being in love, but they still love the person, but they're just not in love? And maybe how can we get back to being in love? So before you speak, Hernandez, I'm going to put you on mute. Mr. H has been waiting a long time, so we'll let Mr. H speak first, and then you can come on, okay?
Yeah. Good day, everybody. Yeah. Good day, everybody. Yes, it's good to be here again. And this is a very, very dicey topic. To speak about. And mostly I've heard it before that people will tell you they fell out of love for somebody. They were loving them before, but now they fell out of love. And sometimes I think if you really love somebody truly, you shouldn't fall out of love with the person. You should be able to enjoy it, or to love the person to the end, just as if the way you love your child. I'm sure you wouldn't wake up one day and say you don't love your child anymore. It's not possible, no matter what. So people going into a relationship, and again, that's why I used to say that when you are in a relationship, you need to begin to try things differently, because once you begin to do things the same way all the time, the person it's like you wear out. And you won't blame some people, because it's normal human nature. When you begin to do something the same way all the time, seeing the same person all the time, there's nothing changes. It's begin to fade away. And so, but when you begin to try some things in different way with your partner, I don't think you fall apart in love with the person, because when the couple first of all, I'm in love with you, they buy flowers, they buy chocolates, they take themselves out, they travel. And as time goes on, you begin to see that they begin to drift apart. They don't want to be in each other's space again. They don't want to see each other again. And it's not that there's no love there, but the love percentage has dropped now. If initially when they met it's like 100, now it's like 30 or 40. You know what I mean? And the cause of all this thing is because you have seen this person over a long period of time, and nothing has they have not done anything differently. What you do is do the same thing the same way. And this thing, I'm not putting race. This thing normally happen because most white people have spoken to, like the elderly ones that maybe 70, 80 or 60, you see that, oh, we're getting divorced. And you ask them, why are you getting divorced? You say, no, we grew out of love. I've seen it. I've heard white people say that, not one, not two, almost 10 people. They say, oh, no, we just grew out of love and we just felt, we should just go our separate ways. Or they can be staying in the same house and be cohabiting in the same house, but there's no love. They will tell you, we're staying in this house together, but there is no love. This one is sleeping in the other room. This one is sleeping in the other room. The love there is just love, like good morning, good afternoon, or just like, love of old. They love themselves in the olden days, and now in the new era, they don't love themselves anymore. So what I'm saying, my own opinion about this topic is that when you fall in love with somebody initially, when the love is still sweet, or when the love is still fresh, you must know that there's a time that is going to wear out. So you need to put it behind your mind that you need to begin to do something with your partner to always reignite your love, for the person. You need to do something differently, to make sure you see your partner in another light. Because we as I'm somebody that's very, very practical, and I would tell you, sometimes you don't blame people when they say they fall out of love, because we are all human beings, and it's in our nature to fall out of love for somebody, because you just get bored. You just get bored, just like if you are driving to the same direction every day for 30 years. I mean, you would get bored, and you wouldn't want to. The zeal is no more there again. But when couple begin to do things in different ways, okay, we've been going to France for holiday all this while because we love France. Then okay, wait, so let us go to Gabon. You see, let us go to Gabon. Let us go and explore there. Or what we do in the bedroom, let us change it. Change your hairstyle. Change something, because sometimes when we begin to see the person all the time doing the same things, it is bound to happen. It is bound that the love will begin to wear out, and at the end of the day, the person will tell you they still love themselves, but they are falling out of in love. You will see they will probably stay in the same house, and you see they are staying in the same house, and they say they are still in love, but they are still dating people outside there. It's not because they are not in love, but because they grew out of love. That's it.
Okay, Mr. H, I really like what you said there. And as I've said, okay, can you just mute yourself because I'm echoing? And as I've said before on this forum a few times, I have been engaged a couple of times. And one of the good things I've gotten out of being engaged is the counseling sessions that I went to in the preparation for my marriage or the marriage. And on several occasions, I would hear a counselor say, love is work. You can't say, and like what Dr. Colley said, responsibilities. You can't say, oh, now he's put a ring on it, I'm good. Or okay, we're getting married, I'm good. You have to constantly keep working at it. And I think what happens is people get to a point in their marriage, and I usually think it's roughly around that 10-15 year mark, and they're just like, I beg you, always take her to dinner, always be thinking of, I can't think of anything brand new to do, and she can't think, he can't think. Next thing, they're just letting things slide. And maybe because they even say schedule things like sex has to be scheduled. Don't just automatically assume that you always be in the mood. Body changes. Sometimes the man's stomach starts to grow a gut, make him feel good about himself, even though he's growing a pot belly. The woman too is growing some saggy stuff, make her feel good. Even in our words, because even our words start to change. And it starts at, oh, I'm teasing the person, but it starts to become painful because they're no longer teasing, they're now jabbing. Well, like, mama robo. Next will be like, robo. And next, it's no longer funny. And that's how those things slide. So this is a question I want to put to the whole house. Do you think you think it would be good if we did a show on love languages?
Yeah.
Okay, so Hernandez has said yeah. Who else?
Yeah.
Mr. H, do you agree?
Yeah.
Abby said
said
yeah.
yes.
Candy? Ron?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I got
I said
Ron.
yeah.
Yes, okay. So we will talk it amongst ourselves and we'll decide whether it's next week or a couple of weeks down. But I think we need to talk about love languages because a lot of people get confused. Now, I've said this on the show before. I don't like flowers. I didn't even know that I didn't like flowers because flowers were never part of my repertoire. But then my neighbor back then, he really liked me and he would bring me flowers. And every time he would give me the flowers, I'm looking at them going, okay, what do I do with this? I didn't even have a vase in my house. I had to go and buy one for these flowers. But then what I realized was I was constantly sneezing in the house. It took me a while to realize it was the flowers that was bringing me the sneezing. And so I had to tell him, I like the flowers, they're beautiful, but they make me sneeze. So he was like, oh, okay, I bring you chocolate. I was like, I don't like chocolate either. He was like, you woman don't like chocolate? I said, no, I don't like chocolate. I said, so he was like, what can I bring? And then I used to drink, I'm like, wine would be nice. So he used to bring me wine instead. And I was happier with that. So sometimes, like me, I like gifts, but I also love being cuddled. But there's some other things that don't really matter to me. And for some other people, doing acts of service for them means more than giving them gifts. So I think it's good that we talk about that. So it's good that I've clarified that. So yes, thank you very much for your.
Something funny real.
Yeah,
Can I just say something funny real quick in terms of that? So I don't know if you saw a couple of weeks ago before Mother's Day, I posted a picture of a saw. And I was like, Michael Brown, that if you've been wondering for a Mother's Day present, here's what I would like. And it's so funny how people thought it was hilarious that I'm asking for a saw for Mother's Day as opposed to like flowers. I mean, I love flowers, but that's not gonna.
Yeah.
But I wanted a saw. I just like it. Just made me remember that how people want different things or it's different things that I've got. Yeah, I just remembered that and I just thought I'd share. It was funny.
Yeah. My love language has actually changed from gifts. Acts of service means a lot more to me now. If a man wants to get to my heart, I'm putting it out there in case a man is planning on meeting me on the street one day. Act of service, do something nice for me and not take me to dinner. I like food though, I'll not lie. I like food, I like to be fed. But if I bring you to my house and you see my garden needs trimming, don't sit there and be like, whatever. Get into that garden and trim it. Help me tidy a couple of things. Okay, this thing hasn't been put up on the wall since. Let me help you put it up. You see, to me, you're action man.
Abby, would you ask somebody that now that you put it out there, are you gonna ask a man that comes to, let's say hello to you?
I will never ask anybody to do anything for me. Never.
Okay, well,
unless we are very, very, very close.
Abby, let me tell you something. Abby, let me tell you something quickly. What you don't know, like for me, I like to do things for people, but sometimes, don't you think sometimes you need to ask? Because sometimes if you don't ask, people don't know, and if people don't know, you think they are not cultured, but they're actually cultured. Sometimes I know sometimes people don't use their common sense, normal, but sometimes. I prefer my woman to ask me, oh, Hamza, please, can you do this for? I do it on my own, but there's some things I will not be able to. Maybe I didn't see that where you want me to do. Like I used to say, when my mom came to Cape Town and she went to the mall to buy normal clothes. Women, and she's elderly. And she's putting on this clothes and she's asking me to come and zip the thing up for her in the woman. And all the white people are looking, what thing they happen here? But she asked me to do it. The people were looking like, no, but why would a man go into the woman's this thing? But she's my mom. And it's out of course because when we were young, we used to do that. Mom say, okay, come and zip my this thing up,
Exactly.
That kind of thing. So what I'm saying is that I'm just asking, I'm throwing it to the ladies. Would you rather ask Candy, Abby, Fash, would you ask a man to, okay, please, can you help me hang the washing? Could you, help me dust? Because there's some things, let me give you an example. There's some things that I wouldn't let a woman do. Because if I go to the garage with my car, there are women that sell petrol. I don't allow them to open my bonnet and say they want to check oil and water because they are mandatory to do it here. Because I used to tell those ladies, no, you can't do it. It's not a woman's job. I will go and do it myself. And they say, oh, you're a nice man. I said, well, that is how I feel. That women shouldn't be opening bonnet, checking oil and water. What's the meaning of that? It's men's job. But would you ask a man to do it for you? I'm asking. I'm just trying to.
Okay, let me explain myself. Let me explain myself. I have a problem. I have a problem, and I'm admitting it. I have a problem. Is a
Mm,
problem of pride, and my
okay.
pride is that because before I fell ill, I was very handy. I used to be the handyman for my old house. The
All
door
right.
is broken. I'm the one who's fixing it. My toolbox is massive. Anything I used to pull apart my computer and build a whole new computer. I was that good. Then when I fell ill, I had my accident, all of that went. So when someone comes to my house, I feel like a nuisance. I'm already feeling like a nuisance. So when someone comes to my house, I feel like I feel like in my own nuisance pride, though, I can't ask you because then I'm just showing you how much of a nuisance I am. So the only person I would ask is someone who is extremely close to me. Like when my brother came to visit, that boy, I almost killed him because put this up, put that, put he was doing everything because he's my brother. I can tell him anything that I need. But a guy who I'm not close with, who's just come to my house or who's just become my friend, I'm not going to ask you. But if you come to my house and say, Abby, that thing is supposed to be on the wall. Why isn't it? Hey, I can't reach it. Okay, let me put it up. You see, in my mind, in my eyes, you are like the second hand of God. But it
Abby,
is my own stupid pride that will not let me ask.
sorry, Abby. The Hernandez, can he just give his view because we
Yeah,
are going
Hernandez.
to
Sorry.
be
That's all right.
Then
around.
all the other women can say their own, please, because
It's all good. What do you want to ask me? Hello?
Yeah, you wanted to speak the other time.
Oh,
No.
well, yeah, like what I wanted to say was basically like kind of the same thing that Mr. A said that basically like if you're too like repetitive, then like it's going to get really boring, which will cause in like causing like a break.
mm.
Yeah, so
So people get bored and just don't want to do it
I mean,
anymore.
it depends. Like if you always like do the same thing and like you're like really like predictable, then at one moment you're going to become kind of boring. And it's possible that you don't have that like that you didn't think that that would happen, but it's actually like supposed to happen. So you have to like keep yourself busy because if not, it's going to get
Okay,
kind of boring.
Hernandez.
Yeah.
Hernandez, there's something I really wanted to ask you. That's your screen animation,
My
the
what?
one with the computer dancing, your screen saver, where your computer moves. You do it a lot when we're live. How do you do that?
My computer moves.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's
which
Ask
one?
when
him,
you.
Hernandez, tell him after the show. Wait and tell him after the show, yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So the other question I
No,
wanted to ask you, Hernandez, because I saw you being when I said I don't ask for help because of pride. What do you think about that?
Well, to be honest, like yeah, there's a lot of people that are like that, and I kind of like understand you because like me, if I can do something, then I'm probably going to like do it by myself. But like if there's a thing that I cannot do like by myself, then I'm probably going to ask somebody else to do it. On unless I'm very lazy, and then I don't want to do it. But yeah, like if I can do a thing, then I'm probably going to do it by myself because like I feel like I have to do it, like because if I got the experience and the knowledge, I just feel like I have to yeah.
But
But
do
like
You
you
know,
ask sometimes, sorry, do you ask sometimes just to I don't know, I can only think of it in the Yoruba way where it's like you just want to be spoilt by the person. So you're like, do this for me. Come on, do it. Like you want to be pampered. It's not because you can't do it, but you just want
oh
that person to pamper you.
I'm
Oh,
yeah, um I do that sometimes, like when it comes down to like cooking food, because
okay.
there's sometimes that I really like yeah, I can cook, but it's better if I don't cook because, like trust me, like me myself, I like and I enjoy like making food, but there's like sometimes where I'm like, like it's better if you just do it, like because it can
Okay,
happen.
so
Yeah.
Candy, thank you very much, Hernandez. Candy, you were about to say something.
Yeah, I was about to say that actually I can kind of see what Mr. H was saying in terms of if you don't ask, like so you mentioned stuff like weed the garden or something. So I used to get one of our fights, me and Mike I used to get in a lot in the beginning of our relationship was that I would have expect him to do something like like I said, we used to fight a lot about the dishes, like stupid freaking dishes. And because I expected him, please load your dishes in the dishwasher or pick up your laundry, stuff like that. Well, maybe not pick up your laundry, but there were some certain things like like that that I'll just get upset and I wouldn't say anything because I'm just like I don't want to ask. I have so much pride, so like I'll just do it myself. But so when we would fight about it, I'll be like, why do I have? He'll be like, if you just tell me to do it, I have no problem doing it. I just don't think about doing it. Like you just
Yeah.
I mean I guess I don't know there's and I hope the men don't get offended. Sometimes they're wired differently, like because when I've talked to a lot of my friends about it, it's the same thing. Like they're
It's the
wired
same.
they're wired differently. There are certain things they just don't think about, and but if you tell them to do it, they'll happily do it without giving you a problem. So I'm just saying
I
something to think about.
Yeah, I think we talked about it last week. I can't remember when or what we were talking. Maybe last week or the week before. Um, I would ask. I would gladly ask. Honestly, I would ask for anything and everything. Um, I don't have to even know you to ask you for help. So I'm not a strong woman. I'm not gonna claim any strongness. So if I get to a place you can do it, I'll tell you respectfully. Can you help me to do this? Can you fix this for me, please? Um, because sometimes I think we expect people to have discretion.
Hmm.
We have expectations on people, and it's also one of the dangers in any relationship where you think she should know that she needs to do this. She should. It could start as small as somebody having a shower in the night. So you might be thinking in your mind like, okay, having a shower for me every night is a must. And then you have somebody maybe that grew up from a place where they think, oh, yeah, if it's too cold, I don't necessarily have to have it. Now, rather than making that a big deal or you're fierce about it, or just because of that, you're going to rule that person off, you can have a discussion about it. Don't expect, just say it. Now, when you now make that effort to say that, and this person is not willing to make I was listening to one pastor to this evening. I think it was Reverend Funke. I'm not a fan anyway. I don't really like her. But she had somebody that she interviewed, and the person was like, when he met the wife, maybe on the first visit, I don't know, he called that visit something. I can't remember the way he presented it. But he said on that visit, he realized that he was just eating, like that it was eating very fast, very, very fast. And the wife was like, no, that's so bushy. Like I can't deal with this and all of that because it was eating very fast and it was also making noise with it and all of that. And I can just automatically imagine how many ladies would have gotten triggered off of that. But it's just a little talk, discussion. And I know what we were talking before is a question of saying ask for something, but just say this thing you're doing, can we do it differently? Can we? And then according to him, the lady said, the lady who is now the wife now said, oh, I can't cope with this. This is not something that I want to cope with. And then the guy said, oh, just give me 2 weeks. Just give me 2 weeks. I'm going to work on it. And according to him, he did work on that behavior. So it's just the same way. I could ask you to, Abby, can you, do this and all of that? Something that's going to better both of us. And the way that we look at things is that we don't want people to see us as being needy or need help. I can fix this so that it doesn't come across that I'm asking you for help every time. But there's no crime in asking. there's no crime in you saying, can you please do this? No, I can't. That's fine. And then you move to the next person. Can you do this? Sometimes I still struggle to open my bonnet, and I'm not. I still struggle to open it sometimes, and I'm gonna like I'll be fighting it and all of that, and then I see somebody saying, "Oh, do you need help with that?" And you know that in the UK, you can't just people won't just go and jump on your car and say they want to help you without asking that question. Do you need help with that? And I say, "No, I don't." Or maybe I need you to help me to fix my tire, and I'm like, and I saw him like, "Oh, can you help me with that?" I'm saying, "No, I don't want you to think that I need you." So that's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm an opportunist, you can call it, but I just don't waste time.
Because even in dance class, right? Like when like we wear our dance shoes and sometimes and like when I need to wear my dance shoe, you see I know I need help, right? Because bending down is not my and I will still be like, then there's a particular guy who will come and like, Abby, you want me to help you put it? I'm like, yes, please. But again, because we become close, so sometimes I'll be like, please, can you come and help me put it on? So I just call him immediately to come and do it. At the very beginning, pride, I knew I couldn't do it, but that pride I already feel useless.
I think I understand the pride side of things. Yeah, I think I understand the pride kind of things. But what I do,
it's like a confirmation of my uselessness.
In relationship, maybe I would do it differently. But in real life, I try to not want to need people. Now, I'm trying to waver on what I've said. I try not to need people unless it is necessary. So if you see what I mean. So I'm not going to be calling you every now and again that, oh, I need help, I need help. So you can remind me that, oh, I'm not the one that said you to be single. You know how our people could be. Anyway.
Exactly.
So I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. But if I am pushed to the wall and there is nowhere to go and you are just strolling and all of them like, oh, yeah, you are the person. I'm going to need you now. And I'm going to get that. But relationship-wise, I will just ask questions.
Okay, I can see and Ola. I've been trying to see if they could come on. I don't know what's going on. Somehow can't get them run. I don't know what's going on there. But I think we have hashed it out to a very good conclusive place. You know, and anyone who's out there who wants to, you know, get in my good books, come and cut my grass because I am never cutting that grass again in my life.
I'm not cutting grass.
I almost died. So you know, I will be dancing and calling your name every day. So honestly, thank you everyone who's joined in. Candy, Abby, Mr. H, Ifeanyi, Dr. Kole, Bimbo, sorry, what am I saying, Bimbo? Bumi, Stella.
Yes, sir.
Ifeanyi, wait.
No, sir.
Okay, you know, so everybody else, I'm trying to see the names. Some people's names have been deleted, so I'm trying to remember.
Bumi.
Jennifer Bright. Yes, I've said Bumi.
And your friend? And your friend, the one that commented?
I can't remember his name. His comments, I can't see his comments here
anymore.
Abdul
something.
Okay, so Abdul something. Thank you also for your comments, but you know, at the end of the day, we know now we live, we not keep passing. So and of course to the one, of course Hernandez, long time no see. So nice to see you. And then of course DJ Wiki himself.
Candy.
Candy was the first person's name. Imagine the chief wife of the century.
Abby just does not want them to mention my name. That's the whole distraction.
Chief wife of the century. How dare I not call her first? Hey, that's true. The whole wife of the giant slayer. Who am I? Wait, award winning. With which one will I explain it to the world that I did not call her name? Mr. H, have I called your name because you're quiet, so I always forget to call you. So, and of course, DJ Wiki run Monye himself. So thank you everyone. Really appreciate you. And till we do this again, same time, same place. And who knows, we might be talking about love language. So make sure you join us. See you. Take care and God bless.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.